I'm Sean Malone. The St. Louis City Police Department say they have one of the best benefits packages of any department in the region. Is it helping with recruiting? I've got that story coming up.
I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Maria Kina. A tense Wednesday afternoon outside the Red Roof Plus Hotel on Wilson Avenue in the Hill neighborhood.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Some rain and even a thunderstorm in the area for a while this morning. Mostly cloudy the rest of today, the high 66.
Brian Feldman has your sports coming up at 6:15.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Missiles fly over the Middle East on day 6 of the Iran war. A U.S. warship launching an attack Iran's way as Tehran issues a macabre warning. The BBC's Lise Doucette.
Residents who are able to leave and have somewhere to go are fleeing to safer places. But unlike last year's war, which mainly targeted Tehran, this time more than 100 towns and cities have been in Israel's and America's sights as they continue to strike military bases, missile platforms, as well as Iran's political and military leaders.
Iranian state TV has aired a message from the late Ayatollah calling for the shedding of blood from Israelis and President Trump. An Iranian government agency has raised the death toll there to 1,230. The president is giving U.S. efforts an A++.
We're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
The Senate has defeated legislation requiring congressional approval to continue military operations. Delaware Chris Coons on what Democrats can do now.
Continue to raise concerns and continue to press on accountability, funding, and support the Americans in the region who desperately need to be evacuated.
After months of denials, Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez admitted to an affair with a staffer who later died by suicide. Gonzalez spoke on the Joe Pags radio show.
I made a mistake, and I had a lapse in judgment, and there was a lack of faith, and I take full responsibility for those actions.
Gonzalez forced into a runoff to keep his seat after Tuesday's primary. Health Secretary Kennedy set his sights on Dunkin', and New Englanders aren't happy.
Kennedy issued this challenge to Dunkin' and Starbucks.
Show us the safety data that show that it's okay for a teenage girl to drink an iced coffee with 115 grams of sugar in it.
Massachusetts Democratic Governor Maura Healey responded in a tweet, "Come and take it." Yas Mankari visits a Dunkin' in Boston every morning.
Thank you.
Her message to RFK Jr.?
Don't try it.
She says she's not worried about the sugar content in her iced coffee with cream, blueberry, and butter pecan.
It's my pick-me-up for the day.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A woman may never tell her age, but a violin can't help it. A new study of 275 Stradivarius instruments finds not only can you determine age by the number of rings on the wood used to make them, you can also tell where the trees came from. It finds they grew at high elevations in northern Italy. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
It is 6:03, and currently in downtown St. Louis, we have cloudy skies, 52 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Megan Lynch. The St. Louis Police Force investigative unit handling the double shooting at the Red Roof Plus Hotel just west of the Hill neighborhood on Wilson Avenue.
St. Louis Police Major Janice Buckstruck says this started with the U.S. Marshals Task Force assisting St. Louis Police locating a murder suspect.
As they continued their investigation, it led them here to the 5800 block of Wilson, where they located a room that they believed the suspect was in. They announced, and they continued to announce for the individuals inside that room to come out of the room and surrender to law enforcement.
That did not immediately happen. Tear gas was deployed and one person came out of the motel room. He had a graze wound to his head. Buckstruck says the homicide suspect was deceased in the room. Buckstruck added, it is not known at this time how both men ended up being shot, but again, she emphasized that no law enforcement ever fired a shot. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Crime rates in East St. Louis are at a 45-year low. Illinois State Police say the number of homicides and non-fatal shootings in East St. Louis decreased each year since 2020, with homicides down 56% and non-fatal shootings down 61%. Officials say all 15 homicide cases that were opened last year were cleared within a year, a statistic reached for the first time in state history.
According to census data, the population in East St. Louis dropped from about 27,000 to 18,000 since just 2020. State police officials say automated license plate readers were instrumental in the crime drop. There are currently 158 cameras in St. Clair and Madison counties. Officials say more are being planned.
The city of St. Louis is on the hook for paying their police officers health insurance for life. Will it help with recruiting?
Chief of Police Robert Tracy says while the city's strong benefits package helps retain officers, the only thing new recruits care about is the salary.
These young men and women that want to come into this profession, they're not thinking 20 years down the road. They're thinking immediately, what is the cost so I can bring that money in for my family?
Mayor Kara Spencer was the one asking the chief about the benefits package as a recruiting tool. She floated the idea the money that goes to pay for these benefits could instead go to raising salaries.
It comes at an enormous cost to our city taxpayers, and at a cost, frankly, that could go into salary increases for new, certainly, and existing police officers.
Asked about cutting benefits to raise salaries, state-appointed board president Chris Saraceno would not rule it out, saying they have to look at every aspect of the budget. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The state-appointed St. Louis City Police Board and Mayor attempting a reset on two major issues.
The Board of Police Commissioners voted to approve new disciplinary procedures and rules without a citizen oversight board. However, Commissioner Sonia Jenkins Gray announced she will work on establishing civilian oversight in some capacity.
Commitment that the board has to move forward in some way with an advisory or an oversight, including the community, including the civilians.
Jenkins Gray's husband, the Reverend Darrell Gray, recently served on the jail's Civilian Oversight Board as its chair. On the topic of the budget, there's a lot of work to be done, and Mayor Kara Spencer stresses time is quickly running out.
The Board of E&A has to consider its budget in the April timeframe, and that has to go through the Board of Aldermen pretty quickly.
The commissioners also said they are committed to more collaboration and transparency with the mayor when constructing their budget. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page cracking down on illegal slot machines. What about the prosecuting attorney?
We can help enforce the regulations around liquor license. I think that's important. And I think illegal gambling in the presence of alcohol sales is not something that people in St. Louis County would want to see.
County Executive Sam Page says he wants to target the liquor licenses of businesses who deploy these newly illegal video lottery terminals. Asked about Page's aggressive approach, prosecuting attorney Melissa Price-Smith declined to weigh in.
I heard that he's doing that as well, and I'm not going to comment on any of his actions.
Price-Smith says her first priority is to notify businesses who use these illegal machines to remove them or at minimum unplug them and cover them up. She says she is working with the Attorney General's office and will begin to prosecute businesses who do not remove or cover them by June 1st. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX business desk, there's a new man in charge of the St. Louis Development Corporation. Stephen Westbrooks has been named the new president and CEO of the city's development arm, most recently serving as the executive director of the Illinois Facilities Fund, where he oversaw $1 billion in assets. Westbrooks, a St. Louis native, has served on local boards and councils, including the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the Great Rivers Greenway Foundation, and Tower Grove Park.
In a statement, Westbrook says he sees great potential in St. Louis and looks forward to collaborating with stakeholders to drive meaningful change. His first day on the job at SLDC will be March 30th.
We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes here on Total Information AM. It's now 6:08.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is the story of the one.
As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10, and this is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Megan Lynch and Roger Brand, who joins us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, it looks like we have an incident. I can't tell what it is. I can see the flashing lights. They're in the center lane, westbound 270, approaching Bell Fountain Road. Traffic starting to bog down there. Not a solid jam, but it is slow. Westbound 270, so pay attention there. Westbound 44, you still got that slowdown midway down the hill from Antire to Lewis Road, where we had a crash off to the right side. Eastbound 44, still a jam. It's east of Highway O, midway up to 100 Washington. The crash was closer to 100 Washington, so it looks like they've cleared it, but there's still a backup in the area. Hopefully it'll continue to improve. Lots of slow traffic already this morning. Northbound 55 from north of 67, most of the way up to Highway Z. Could be some standing water in the construction zones there. The right lanes are a little slow passing Butler Hill after that. A report of a water rescue at JJ at the ramp to northbound 67 down in St. Francis County. Emergency crews are headed that way right now as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Glover here from my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
We'll have some rain around the area and even a thunderstorm or two for a while this morning. Then it will dry out later today and remain mostly cloudy, but turn warmer with time. The high 66. Mostly cloudy and mild tonight. Watch out for a shower or thunderstorm, especially early, though 58. Tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sunshine, breezy and warmer. The high 79. Could be some strong thunderstorms in the area later tomorrow night. For Saturday, a morning shower, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy and cooler. The morning high 64. Then temperature will slowly fall. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have cloudy skies, 49 degrees in Florissant, 47 in St. Peter's, 51 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is going on 6:13. Israel's army claims Iran's leadership has been shaken following the latest wave of attacks on Tehran. The BBC's Yolanda Nell is tracking developments from Jerusalem.
The Israeli military said that it hit a ballistic missile launcher in Qom in Iran, and it also taken out air defenses in the Iranian city of Isfahan.
He is doing this under the War Powers Resolution.
Congresswoman Ann Wagner on our sister station 97.1 justifying President Trump's military action against Iran. Yesterday, the Senate voted against a resolution that would have prevented Trump from carrying out more strikes. Today, the House will vote on the resolution.
I am going to strongly support our troops, along with, I hope, nearly every Republican. And frankly, a number of Democrats have stepped up to say that they are also going to be supportive.
Longtime political observer and public policy expert tells KMOX the Trump administration's war on Iran may bring the country back to the negotiating table, but he expects Iran to be wary of any talks.
They don't even quite know what they're negotiating for or on, other than to have, the bombing stop. So I'm not sure what a pledge from a reeling, embattled, collapsing regime would do for the United States and Israel.
John Shaw is director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. He says Iran won't be the only country to handle future agreements with this administration with caution.
It's caused maybe a kind of a grim respect for the United States, but also a deep wariness of how to deal with the country that for so long has been considered a trusted and honorable dominant force on the global stage.
Missouri Congressman Mark Alford praising the state's role in the U.S. and Israeli mission against Iran. Alford, a Republican representing West Central Missouri, says it was an imminent threat.
And I'm so proud of our president, the administration, and our men and women from Whiteman Air Force Base flying the B-2 stealth bombers back this past summer to decapitate the nuclear capabilities then and now to try to finish off the job.
The Pentagon says Missouri-based B-2 bombers from Whiteman Air Force Base took part in the strikes, dropping several 2,000-pound bombs on Iranian ballistic missile sites.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. What a night for SLU basketball.
Brady Dunlap's going to dribble it out. 4, 3, 2, 1. 79, 65. The Bills win it. They're now 27-3 on the season, 15-2, and regular season conference champions.
Bob Ramsey says it all on KMOX. The Billikens regular season conference champions in the A-10 after taking down Loyola Chicago last night at Chaffetz Arena. SLU gets the 1 seed in the upcoming conference tournament. Amari McCautry, 18 points. Deion Brown, 15. And SLU finishes unbeaten at Chaffetz for the first time in the building's 18-year history. One more regular season game to go. That's Saturday at George Mason. On the ice, the Blues take down the Kraken 3-2 to stop Seattle's 5-game winning streak. Dylan Holloway with the go-ahead goal in the second period. The Blues will stay out west and face the Sharks tomorrow night. Other hockey news, it appears Colton Parayko is on the move. TSN reports the Blues trading the defenseman to Buffalo. Parayko in the 4th year of an 8-year contract and was a key member of the 2019 Stanley Cup team right here in St. Louis. On to baseball.
The Cardinals lose to the Nicaraguan WBC team 2-1 yesterday. While the position player group consisted mostly of minor leaguers, the club runs out a number of pitchers who are likely to be on the opening day roster. Expected opening day starter Matthew Liberatore becomes the first Cardinals pitcher to pitch into the 4th this spring, allowing 2 runs. Manager Oliver Marmol says Liberatore is right where they want him to be.
Some may start to ask about early in camp is like velo, which is kind of not a box we care to check this early on. But the fact that he's inching towards where we need that to be, he's locating his secondary stuff really well. Like a game like today was solid.
This time last year, it was not clear if Liberatore was going to be a starter. Now he's the club's presumed top starter. Marmol says it allows Liberatore's spring work to be even better.
When you know that the club is committed to you in that kind of role, then it allows you to just double down on the things that you know you need long-term in order to do it well.
Liberatore has now thrown 8 1/3 innings over 3 spring starts, allowing a total of 3 runs. In Jupiter, Florida, at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
The Cardinals face the Pirates today in Bradenton, Florida. Dustin May will be on the mound. It's the free agent signee's first Grapefruit League appearance. He'll oppose Mitch Keller, first pitch, 12:05. And on the pitch.
When St. Louis City SC midfielder and DP Marcel Hartle was unavailable, Miguel Perez got the call to start on the road in San Diego, and he found out the day of the flight. Miguel says once he knew after Saturday's training, it was all about preparation and having the confidence of Coach DeMay.
Coming to game day, I think I just came mentally and physically prepared for the game, and he set me up with confidence going into the game. I think he talked to me before, and he was like, just go out there and do your thing.
Miggy almost delivered a moment in the 23rd minute, making a great run in the half space and putting a dangerous ball across the 6-yard box. It didn't connect, but the movement, confidence, and belief were there. For a young player still developing, it's clear Miggy is ready when his number is called. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
City SC faces Seattle Saturday night. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball. KMOX.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardy, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Come tour amazing outdoor living spaces, learn from expert gardeners, and browse our spa showcase to turn your backyard dreams into reality.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Let's check on the morning rush with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still have issues out there. In fact, I'm still looking. The center lane is still shut down on westbound 270 before Bellefontaine, just west of Lilac. So traffic is backed up in the area. Obviously, westbound on 270, if you're headed that way, you've got heavy traffic just west of Lilac into the area. It's not a jam, so it hasn't really gotten any worse. So report of a crash, I can't see it on the ramp from Page to southbound 170, so be careful there. Northbound 55, we've still got the delays in pockets north of 67 up through Highway Z in the work zone. It's bogged down through Butler Hill. There's a crash with a semi on the shoulder there, minor in nature, thankfully. And then it's slow again from about the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. On the Illinois side, interstates look good, but Route 3, it looks like we have a little congestion coming up through Queenie. Probably a recent train crossing there. Westbound 44, still have that brief delay midway down the Antire Hill between Antire and Lewis. Eastbound 44 between Union and Washington is thinned out. They cleared that crash. Next update at 6:30 from your Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's a rainy morning, and in fact, we could see rain and even a thunderstorm for a while this morning before it clears out and leaves us with a mostly cloudy day, but a high of 66 degrees. Showers and storms tonight and overnight, but tomorrow, breezy, warmer, clouds and sun, high of 79 degrees tomorrow. Right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got cloudy skies, and yep, it looks like some light rain in downtown St. Louis, 51 degrees.
The news continues at 6:22. A 56-year-old Godfrey man is accused of sexually abusing and assaulting the same victim for 4 years. Ernest Smith faces several felony counts of predatory sexual assault of a child and aggravated criminal sexual abuse. The Riverbender reporting the abuse started in January of 2019 when the child was 8 and continued through February of 2023. The investigation was launched after the child told a therapist and friend who reported the abuse to the victim's guardian.
The major case squad has been activated following the killing of a 41-year-old Carlisle, Illinois woman. Sadie Tull was found in her home on Fairfax Street. She had been shot once in the head. Investigators have followed up on more than 63 leads. However, they're asking anyone who had contact with Tull leading up to her death or anyone with information to notify the major case squad or Crime Stoppers.
Former police chief of the Carlisle Police Department is facing federal charges for embezzlement. 52-year-old Mark Pinkerhouse has been charged with 2 counts of wire fraud and 2 counts of theft of government funds, accused of embezzling more than $100,000. The indictment says Pinkerhouse took funds between 2017 and 2025 when he acted as police chief for the city of Carlisle and the chief financial officer for the Carlisle Fire Protection District. Pinkerhouse accused of using the money for things like purchase of WNBA tickets and jewelry from Zales. He's also accused of taking funds from the Carlisle Police Department's Drug and Education Fund. The FBI Springfield field office leading the investigation.
Many nonprofits that get federal funds are concerned that money can go away at any time, depending on what happens in Washington, D.C. One of those organizations is in South St. Louis, Mo Network.
Executive Director Michelle Charbonnier says Mo Network is a recovery community center for drug users. It's a place that provides Narcan, a place to wash clothes, and have access to several resources in order to get a person off of drugs and back into a productive life.
Our drug checking program. So our drug supply these days is contaminated, and we run a drug checking program where our participants give us samples of what they're using, like in the baggie that they've used or the capsule. We take it to a lab that tests it and provides us of what's in the supplies.
This is critical because all too often a drug user believes they are getting one drug when in fact it is typically laced with fentanyl, and just a pinhead amount of fentanyl can kill you instantly.
If you aren't aware that you think you're using a stimulant like cocaine and you use it and there's fentanyl in it and you have no idea, you're likely to overdose.
Mo Network has its annual fundraiser March 13th at the Third Degree Glass Factory. This marks 10 years. If you are interested in tickets, go to monetwork.org. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The Missouri House Committee votes to move Governor Kehoe's income tax elimination plan to the full chamber. The 7-3 party line vote yesterday advances that proposed constitutional amendment that would seek to replace income tax revenue with an expanded sales tax. The income tax phased out over time as revenue benchmarks are met. House Democrats say it amounts to a tax hike on working Missourians. The full House takes it up before spring recess, March 12th.
I'm Michael Calhoun. Missouri lawmakers also considering a bill that would set statewide insurance rules for app-based delivery drivers. Jeremy Lefevre, representing DoorDash, spoke against the bill, saying,
"What we'd like to see is that the commercial insurance starts as soon as I click that I'm dashing or sparking or whatever the thing is, and then extend for some limited period of time after the delivery."
The bill is sponsored by Marshall Republican Senator Curtis Gregory, who says he wants to ensure that Missouri drivers have adequate coverage at all times.
Republicans in the Missouri legislature want to make it harder to pass constitutional amendments on statewide ballots. A Cole County judge Wednesday ruled that the ballot language must clearly alert voters that is the intent of the measure and removed what critics call ballot candy from the language. Judge Daniel Green says the first two lines merely restated current law.
Amendment 4 will be on the November ballot and would make it possible for a small minority of voters to defeat constitutional amendments. The case was brought by the Missouri Association of Realtors, which is backing an opposition PAC whose spokesman says the judge recognized the legislative attempt to mislead citizens.
The time is 6:27, and that time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
When it comes to your hearing, you deserve expert care. At the Audiology Center, you're treated by certified audiologists Dr. Colleen Bosler, Dr. Adam Foss, and Dr. Bailey Campbell, meaning 8 years of advanced education, clinical expertise, and a commitment to best practices.
Charlie, we offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so you get what's best for you. Every patient receives individualized testing, precise fittings using real ear measurements, and personalized programming to ensure your hearing aids perform exactly as they should. And our care doesn't stop once you leave the office. We're committed to helping your hearing aids last through ongoing adjustments, maintenance, and long-term support at no extra cost. Better hearing is personal, not one size fits all. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com. And let's take that first step together.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. One day, you're under a thunderstorm warning. The next,
oh boy, it's
snowing. Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. Sponsored by
Saliga Heating and Cooling. When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Miklasz.
March the 26th, first game, Busch Stadium, Tampa Bay Rays at Cardinals, the first Cardinal to bat in 2026. That will be J.J. Weatherholt. So the point is, he'll be on base a lot. He has tremendous on-base skills, and I think that's what you want in the leadoff hole.
Bernie Miklasz. Hear what he has to say on the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At 6:30, we have cloudy skies, a little bit of drizzle, 51 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here's Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working the crash, I guess it is, Debbie. It's hard to see in the distance, but I can see the flashing lights, and it looks like they have everything shuttled down to the right lane. It was the center lane that was blocked before, so you were getting by on the left and right-hand side, but now only one lane open, the right lane. Westbound 270, this is just west of Bell Fountain, so traffic is a solid jam back to almost Riverview. Since it's just down to one lane now, it's making it more difficult. There's more volume now, southbound 61 from Highway P down onto 64, just generally slow, running all the way through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Seeing more of a backup now. That crash westbound 44 midway between Antire and Lewis Road, right lane block, so it's becoming bumper to bumper. Not any longer of a delay, but it is more solid. Northbound 55 still a little slow at A. McNutt up through Highway Z. Butler Hill up to 270. There's a crash on the shoulder there. Union Road overpass up to River to Pears heavy. Westbound 64 is starting to slow at 159 and at the 70 split. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're looking for rain, possibly a thunderstorm for a while today. Otherwise cloudy and warmer, a high of 66. Mostly cloudy. A shower or thunderstorm could pop up tonight, mainly early, an overnight low of just 58. And then tomorrow, breezy and warmer with a mix of clouds and sun, a high near 79. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 51 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is going on 6:32, and a homicide suspect is dead following a standoff with U.S. Marshals and St. Louis police at the Red Roof Inn Plus in the 5800 block of Wilson Avenue. That's just at Hampton and 44.
A second man in the room with the homicide suspect had a gunshot graze wound to his head, but it is not known who shot the man. St. Louis Police Major Janice Bachstruck.
So what happened inside that room is part of our investigation now. So the Force Investigation Unit is here. They will work alongside the Homicide Division in doing an investigation into what occurred inside that room. There was a firearm recovered from inside that room, and that investigation, like I said, is ongoing.
The U.S. Marshals has one St. Louis police officer assigned to the task force. Bachstruck says the man that had the non-life-threatening graze wound potentially has some criminal activity that police are also investigating. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Amid the tension around civilian oversight and the budget, the state-appointed St. Louis City Board of Police Commissioners and the mayor aim to reset.
We remain transparent, accountable, and finding a responsible way, or a path forward that ensures meaningful.
Board President Chris Saraceno reading an opening statement committing to working collaboratively with the mayor to solve the budget gap and the question of civilian oversight. Mayor Kara Spencer says recent negotiations are still far apart, due in part to the city's responsibility to pay out benefits to officers for life.
Pension costs, those lifelong health benefits, and so those are not included. They were not included in the police department's budget.
Saraceno says the change from local control to state-appointed control has resulted in a lot of these processes being built on the fly.
And at the end of the day, if we don't have the police officers and the citizens of the neighborhoods in the St. Louis at the forefront of what we are discussing, then we're not doing our job.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It is 6:34. Your Money Minute from Bloomberg is next.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
It's 6:35 and time for your money report here on Total Information AM. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. The financial and logistical troubles the Iran war is causing for the global aviation industry are compounding by the day. The number of canceled flights to the Middle East has surpassed 23,000 since fighting began. Thousands of passengers have been stranded in the Gulf region, forcing many to take expensive routes to reach functioning airports in Saudi Arabia and Oman. Turning to today's markets, the Middle Eastern focused traders are following a report that Iran recently signaled it was ready to relinquish its uranium stockpiles. S&P futures are little changed. Dow futures are down 90 points. Crude is higher at $76 a barrel. And the Justice Department is investigating whether several leading producers of commercial fertilizers have colluded to raise prices. The companies control a significant portion of the U.S. fertilizer market, raising concerns among farmers and also government officials about high fertilizer prices. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
Hola amigos, Brad Evans here. Check out this booming voice and Pat Boyle on BetMGM tonight, covering the biggest sports stories from coast to coast, live and interactive on the free Odyssey app, discussing NFL offseason news and getting you ready for the madness in college hoops. BetMGM tonight with me, Brad Evans and Pat Boyle, live and interactive, Monday through Friday night starting at 6 Eastern, presented by BetMGM. Always live on the free Odyssey app and watch on YouTube at BetMGM tonight.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
To traffic here in just a minute on Total Information AM. The last two names of the 6 U.S. soldiers who died in Kuwait, the Kuwait attack identified by the Pentagon. The soldiers identified Wednesday were 55-year-old Chief Warrant Officer 3, Robert Marzin of Sacramento, 45-year-old Major Jeffrey O'Brien of Indianola, Iowa. They died Sunday when a drone hit a command center in Kuwait. That strike came one day after the U.S. and Israel launched its military campaign against Iran. The Pentagon said Marzan was at the command center and died when the drone strike hit.
Republicans take another crack at Homeland Security funding, citing the Iran war. The House already approved a DHS spending bill in January, but it faltered in the Senate as Democrats insisted on changes to immigration enforcement operations following the shooting death of ICU nurse Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. As a result, funding for the department lapsed on February 14th. Republicans calling on Democrats now to reconsider in the wake of the conflict in Iran. Democrats argue it's a cynical effort that will fail without changes to immigration enforcement operations.
A Haitian man has died in U.S. immigration custody. According to his brother, the man had an untreated toothache. The man was confined at an Arizona immigration detention center for months after the denial of his asylum application. He died at a hospital. The man's brother said the 56-year-old Emmanuel Damas told officers he had a toothache in mid-February, but was not sent to the dentist. Damas is among at least 9 people who have died in ICE custody this year. A report from the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office says the cause of death for Emmanuel Damas is pending.
Let's get the latest on the roads for you on this Thursday morning. Roger Brand has the update from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Just hearing another call out for the water rescue, Highway JJ at the North 67 on-ramp. What I heard after that earlier was that there were some folks that evacuated from a campground in that area, and they went to the wrong side of the flow, I guess, of the water and got stranded. So they've had another call out, but I don't think it's actually on the highway itself. What is on the highway is causing problems, though. We still have this crash westbound 270 just past Bellefontaine Road. Only the right lane is open. Traffic's jammed back across the Chain Rocks Bridge in Illinois now, so that's getting worse. Southbound 61 approaching Highway P all the way down onto 64 at the Boulevard's heavy. Northbound 270, 55 through Gravois, north of Big Bend up to about Clayton Road. That's all slow. Northbound 55, slow briefly at A. McNutt up through Highway Z. There's a southbound delay coming through Z as well. Maybe I have a southbound incident. We'll check on that. Northbound slow approaching Butler Hill up to 270. There was a minor semi-crash on the shoulder there. Union Road overpass up to River to Pears. Heavy westbound 64 delays both sides of 159. And it's heavy on 5570 west of 203 onto 64 3rd Street. And then after that, crossing the Poplar. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, what's it going to be like? Because if you're looking out the window right now, you're thinking, what a wet, gloomy, droopy morning. True, but there is some good news, and we'll let our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, deliver it to you.
And Debbie, you're right. It is kind of drippy outside right now. There's still some flashes of lightning, especially south of the city. This is all moving to the east and northeast. And I think later today, we get a little respite from the heavy rains and thunderstorms we've had over the past 24 hours that has produced some of these pockets of flash flooding, particularly south and southeast of the city. We'll get to about 60 under cloudy skies this afternoon. There'll be a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms that'll come through the area tonight as well. But again, I think these are going to be very spotty in nature. Most of the time, I think, is uneventful across the area. And by morning, we're only going to be down to 58. Tomorrow, a better day. The clouds will break for some sunshine. And with it, temperatures are going to make a run at 80 degrees tomorrow afternoon. It's really going to be a pretty spectacular afternoon. Now, late in the day, there is a risk for a shower or thunderstorm. I think that chance goes up Friday night. Saturday, we start with a shower. Front comes through, then clouds will try to break in the afternoon. It'll be breezy and cooler. Mid-60s early, then falling into the upper 50s. But after Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
More news now at 6:43. The House Oversight Committee has voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi as part of its investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. CBS reports Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has also agreed to answer questions about his past ties to Epstein. That includes emails showing a visit to Epstein's private island years after Lutnick says he cut off contact.
Massachusetts Congressman Stephen Lynch, a senior member of the committee, explains why the investigation matters.
With Pam Bondi, it's a different situation. She has withheld meaningful and important documents from Congress. She scrubbed the information.
Pardons. The matter was closed because prosecutors were never able to find a legal hook to be able to pursue the matter further.
Recently, a grand jury also refused to indict 6 Democratic lawmakers over charges they violated the law by urging military service members not to follow unlawful orders in a video that they released last fall. In that matter, not a single grand juror voted in favor of an indictment, which is highly unusual.
Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez now acknowledges he had an affair with a former staffer who later died by suicide.
Hours after the House Ethics Committee announced it would investigate whether Gonzalez engaged in sexual misconduct, the Republican told conservative radio host Joe Pags,
I made a mistake and I had a lapse in judgment.
Gonzalez did not discuss his relationship with former staffer Regina Santos Aviles, who took her own life last year, but said he had nothing to do with her death. Gonzalez's GOP primary runoff opponent, Brandon Herrera, posted on X, quote, "Is there anyone left who still trusts this now objectively proven liar?" Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. In 18 years at Chaffetz Arena, St. Louis University men's basketball has never gone undefeated at home until now. After beating Loyola Chicago 79-65 last night, they finished the regular season 19-0 at Chaffetz. The win also clinches at least a share of the regular season conference championship. And it was sophomore guard Amari McCautry leading the way.
Robbie drives, Ruben waiting on him, hands it inside to McCautry, left hand layup, good! From Robbie, it's a McCautry bucket.
Excellent work inside that interior passing in traffic. Amari having himself a night.
Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. on the call. Yes, it was quite a night for McCautry, a team-high 18 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Deion Brown adds 15 of his own. SLU finishes up the regular season this Saturday at George Mason. And on the ice, the Blues take down the Kraken 3-2 to stop Seattle's 5-game winning streak. Next up, they stay out west and face the Sharks tomorrow night. On to baseball.
Richard Fitz makes his second appearance of spring training, throwing 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen in the team's 2-1 loss to the Nicaraguan WBC team. He's now thrown 5 innings without allowing a run, with his fastball sitting in the high 90s. Manager Oliver Marmol says he likes the way Fitz attacks hitters.
Usage on even the fastball sinker, I think he mixed in 10 sinkers, so it's hard to just sit on one when you have 2 fastballs doing different things, and mix his other stuff well enough to keep you off balance.
Starters' innings are getting tougher and tougher to find during Grapefruit League play, especially with Dustin May joining the rotation today. Fitz piggybacks yesterday, throwing the final 3 innings. Manager Oliver Marmol says Fitz can compete for a rotation spot even without getting starts in spring.
If he's in a piggyback, and as long as he's getting ramped up and getting the innings, I think it's fine. And it still allows him to show us what he's capable of doing. So I'm not extremely concerned as to like him starting it or coming in after somebody at the moment.
Fitz throws 19 of the 33 highest velocity pitches in the game. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
The Cardinals face the Pirates today in Bradenton. Dustin May will start on the mound. It's the free agent signee's first Grapefruit League appearance. He'll oppose Mitch Keller, first pitch 12:05 right here on KMOX. And on the pitch,
St. Louis City SC midfielder Miguel Perez knows the path of a young pro isn't always straight up. After a 2024 loan to USL team Birmingham Legion, Miguel says the experience challenged him, especially mentally, living on his own at age 18, being away from family, and adjusting to a more physical league. But it shaped him.
Yeah, I think it's just a mental thing. Just believe in yourself and have confidence is the main thing.
Miggy says coming back this preseason, his mindset was simple: to play like he belongs. And that belief showed when he earned the start against San Diego for the missing DP, Marcel Hartle. Now he's focused on continuing to grow, train hard, and prove that he's always an option for the first team. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
City SC faces Seattle Saturday night. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball. KMOX.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes has become synonymous with quality, luxury, and customization, offering thoughtfully designed homes in the area's most desirable communities. And for the month of March, we're giving you even more room to live. For a limited time, receive a free finished recreation room in the lower level, perfect for entertaining, movie nights, a home gym, or whatever fits your lifestyle. This special incentive is available in select communities and only during the month of March. Visit LombardoHomes.com to explore and be sure to ask your sales manager for details.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun, but those clouds, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart.
You can see now.
One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Now the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:50, time to update you on your ride into work with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, good news for Madison and North County drivers. It looks like they've got that crash over to the right-hand side now, westbound 270 at Bellefontaine. Traffic is still jammed, though, about almost midway between the Canal and Chain Rocks Bridge on westbound 270. So it's pretty solid through there. Eastbound Highway 78 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard and through Cave Springs a little slow. Southbound 61 Highway P onto 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard is slow. If you're on North 270, ramping on from 55 to 44 is busy. And then north of Big Bend to Manchester, approaching Clayton Road up to Ladue. South 270, all of the Ladue is kind of heavy. Westbound 44, still this jam coming down the west side of the Antire Hill. So Antire, most of the way down toward Lewis. The white lane was blocked for a crash. All lanes are blocked, both lanes actually. Southbound 55 just south of Z by a wreck. There's a short jam there. Northbound slow down coming up from McNutt through the area. Right lane's busy at Butler Hill from Union Road overpass all the way up to Holly Hills downtown. 64 delays both sides of 159 and 5570 exchanges slow all the way across the Poplar. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather this morning could just be, well, what it is, rain with maybe a thunderstorm, but it should clear out the rain anyway, and we'll have a cloudy day with a high of 66 degrees. We could see showers and thunderstorms in spots overnight, and then tomorrow, it's going to be breezy, warmer, sun and clouds, and a high tomorrow of 79 degrees. Right now, it's cloudy with some drizzle and 51 downtown.
The news continues at 6:52. A new part-time job for St. Louis native and retired New York Archbishop Cardinal Timothy Dolan. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer reports.
Cardinal Dolan has officially been sworn in as the co-chaplain of the New York City Police Department. New York City Mayor Zoran Mandami.
Cardinal Dolan has stood as a spiritual beacon for almost 3 million Catholic New Yorkers over the last 27 years, leveraging the power of the church to support all those in need, including migrants, refugees, at-risk youth, and our city's hungry and homeless.
Now I have 2 badges, this venerated shield of the NYPD and the Cross of Christ, both over a heart, my heart, a heart which now belongs to all of you. Thank you.
Cardinal Dolan will serve alongside the Reverend A.R. Bernard. The two will oversee the NYPD Chaplains Unit and minister to the officers and their families in times of tragedy. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Governor Mike Kehoe will give opening remarks during the 80th anniversary commemoration of Winston Churchill's famous Iron Curtain speech. That's today at the museum on the campus of Westminster College. The centerpiece of the museum is the 17th century Church of St. Mary Aldermanbury, moved from London to Fulton stone by stone. The director of the museum is Tim Riley.
The museum, Westminster College, the Churchill legacy, the audaciousness to do something like this, to bring a church from London and reconstruct it. It's a very American idea, but it's also a very Churchillian idea, and it's attracted world leaders to this campus to follow in Churchill's footsteps and to make pronouncements on world affairs.
Maryville University announces a new men's ice hockey program. The school announced the launch of the NCAA Division I team, which will make its debut during the 2027-28 school year. Maryville says its existing club hockey programs will remain untouched, making the Division I team the school's 6th hockey team. The university says it has secured additional funding for significant facility upgrades.
Who qualifies as a senior citizen these days? It's a term many of that age don't identify with, and that's one reason why the St. Louis Senior Olympics have rebranded as St. Louis Legends Games. It's put on by the Jewish Community Center, and Stephanie Ray says events run the gamut.
Softball tournament, ice hockey skills, football throws, a poker tournament, and a pinball tournament, bridge, mahjong, full track and field schedule, everything but hurdles, full swimming schedule.
Registration began this week, and the games will be in May at locations all over the St. Louis region. It's open to anyone over the age of 50, but Ray says, why not have your kids volunteer?
Alton families in need can receive free hams later this month. As Easter approaches, volunteers will be distributing those hams and side items during a drive-through food drive. It's Saturday, March 28th. The Riverbender reports this year marks the 7th year the Crisis Food Center is partnering with a regional credit union to split the costs.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout-out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family-owned and top-rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. And those celebrity birthdays for this Thursday, March 5th, include magician Penn Jillette, 71 years old today. Actor Eva Mendes is 52, model Nikki Taylor, 51, and country singer Gabby Barrett is 26.
Remember, if you have a birthday or anniversary you would like announced during this segment, it's totalam@kmox.com. Just email us at totalam@kmox.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Jordan Stulce, or Stulcy, from Jeannie. Also, happy birthday wishes to Joanne Hopkins and Paul West.
This is the best birthday ever.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
If you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're just thinking about retirement more in general, you're probably thinking about, when can you retire? Will you have enough money to live on? You know, we all have retirement questions that, let's be honest, they're overwhelming and just can stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions so that you'll feel more confident about this next phase of your life. Check out his show, The All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 and Sunday evenings at 6 here on KMOX.
Get ready, St. Louis area. The St. Charles Boat Show is here March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. See the top dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks and climb aboard your next dream boat. New models, great deals, and summer fun starts here. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for details.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Rock icon Sting brings his Sting 3.0 tour to Steeple Theater Saturday, October 17th. Fronting his power trio, Sting performs the most electrifying songs from his timeless discography. Presented by the Cherry Tree Music Company and Live Nation. Tickets to the Sting 3.0 tour go on sale Friday, 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Don't miss Sting 3.0 live.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other. Yeah. There's just a huge problem in your life. And then you win a giant jackpot. Mm-hmm. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's check in right now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we've got a jam westbound 270 west of the Canal Bridge onto the Chain of Rocks, and then it's still slow from Lilac through Bellefontaine because of an earlier crash. Southbound 61 Highway P onto 64 at the Boulevard. There's a slowdown passing Winghaven. Sounds like there was a car that struck the median wall east of there. Northbound 270 ramping on from 55 up to 44 slow. North of Big Bend to Manchester and north of Manchester up to Ladue. South 270 south of Olive to Ladue. That's all busy. Westbound 44 still jamming through Antire down the hill toward Lewis where that right lane was blocked by the crash. Southbound 55 still has restrictions at Highway Z and a short jam up there due to an injury crash. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This is Thursday, March 5th. I'm Megan Lynch. These are the stories that are just ahead.
I'm Sean Malone. The St. Louis City Police Department say they have one of the best benefits packages of any department in the region. Is it helping with recruiting? I've got that story coming up.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Maria Kina. A tense Wednesday afternoon outside the Red Roof Plus Hotel on Wilson Avenue in the Hill neighborhood.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A wet start to the day with some rain and a thunderstorm in the area for a while. Mostly cloudy this afternoon, high 66.
We've got CBS News next.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A message from the late Ayatollah Khamenei played on Iranian state TV calls for the blood of Israelis and President Trump. On day 6 of the war, Iran warning the U.S. will bitterly regret the torpedo strike from a submarine that sank one of its warships. The BBC's Charles Haviland.
The bodies of the Iranian crew are being held in a hospital in Galle in southern Sri Lanka, where 32 other sailors who survived the attack are being treated. Tehran has condemned the U.S. for the sinking. The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi called it an atrocity that America would regret committing.
Israel has unleashed a new barrage of bombs on Tehran. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata is in Tel Aviv.
It was another noisy night overnight. In fact, even this afternoon, a few minutes ago. Now, the Pentagon says that missile launches out of Iran are down by more than 70%, but it didn't feel that way, especially now that Hezbollah has joined the fight.
Many Americans trying to get out of the Middle East say they're trapped now. CBS's Imtiaz Tyab spoke to Oliver Sims, who's been stranded at the airport in Doha.
Have you been in touch with the State Department? I have, yes, but it's just kind of all over the place. Are you angry at anyone? I'm not angry. I am definitely just disappointed in the way that U.S. citizens here are being taken care of or lack of.
Thousands of other U.S. citizens say they're in the same boat. The House Oversight Committees voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi.
The motion compels Bondi to appear before the panel for a closed-door deposition on the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files. 5 Republicans voted with every Democrat on the committee to subpoena Bondi. Massachusetts Democrat Stephen Lynch says not all the files have been released as Congress had ordered.
We do know that a large tranche of the information that identified President Donald Trump, that was withheld by Bondi.
An index of the files listed FBI interviews with a woman who accused Trump of sexually assaulting her when she was a minor. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Her nickname, the Los Gatos Party Mom. Real name, Shannon O'Connor. She's been found guilty of child endangerment and sexual assault after prosecutors accused her of throwing parties for her underage son. Santa Clara, California District Attorney Jeff Rosen says they involved excessive drinking and pressuring girls to have sex.
This defendant took advantage of children, manipulated children, hurt children. Emotionally, mentally, physically.
The 51-year-old faces up to 30 years in prison. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis. a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR.
At 7:04, we do have some light rain, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, March 5th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. The St. Louis Police Force Investigative Unit handling a double shooting at the Red Roof Plus Hotel just west of the Hill neighborhood.
St. Louis Police Major Janice Bachstruck says this started with the U.S. Marshals Task Force assisting St. Louis Police locating a murder suspect.
As they continued their investigation, it led them here to the 5800 block of Wilson, where they located a room that they believed the suspect was in. They announced, and they continued to announce for the individual or individuals inside that room to come out of the room and surrender to law enforcement.
That did not immediately happen. Tear gas was deployed and one person came out of the motel room. He had a graze wound to his head. Bachstruck says the homicide suspect was deceased in the room. Bachstruck added, it is not known at this time how both men ended up being shot, but again, she emphasized that no law enforcement ever fired a shot. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Crime rates in East St. Louis are at a 45-year low. Illinois State Police say the number of homicides and non-fatal shootings in East St. Louis have decreased each year since 2020. Homicides are down 56%, non-fatal shootings down 61%. Officials say all 15 homicide cases that were opened in 2025 were cleared within the year, a statistic that was reached for the first time in state history.
According to census data, the population in East St. Louis dropped from about 27,000 to 18,000 since 2020. State police officials say automated license plate readers have been instrumental in their drop in crime. Currently, they have 158 cameras in St. Clair and Madison counties, and officials say more are planned.
The St. Louis City Board of Police Commissioners approved new disciplinary procedures that do not include a civilian review board, while announcing they'll work on finding a way to include their oversight. They also stated their commitment to collaborating with the mayor on the department's budget.
Do they believe common ground can be found? Here's board president Chris Saracino.
We're not involved in conflict. We are involved in trying to get this right.
Mayor Kara Spencer.
Yesterday was the first time we had a real working meeting going through our rationale, sharing that. We put our cards on the table. Obviously, we want to be a collaborative partner.
One of the issues that needs to be overcome, the mayor is including the costs of lifetime benefits of officers into their budget, while so far the commissioners have not.
St. Louis City Chief of Police Robert Tracy says their benefits package, while generous, is not as strong of a recruiting tool as others, the higher salaries at other law enforcement agencies. Mayor Kara Spencer says the benefits like paying an officer's health insurance for life is costly, and those funds could instead go toward higher salaries.
Are we investing the limited and finite revenue that the city has and doing it in the most effective way to attract new officers to the profession, not just of policing, but policing for SLMPD?
The state-appointed Board of Police Commissioners currently working through their proposed budget for the first time.
When asked if benefits could be cut in order to raise salaries, board president Saracino didn't say no.
If we weren't doing our job, if we didn't look at this in a holistic way, then we probably wouldn't be doing our job. So we do definitely need to look at every aspect of this.
The benefit costs are a discrepancy in the budget talks between the board and the mayor's office.
From the KMOX business desk, Festus is getting a new Olive Garden. City officials were willing to give $4.5 million in incentives to land the chain eatery. The new Italian-themed restaurant will go in next to Texas Roadhouse on Shapiro Drive off 55. City officials agreed to give Olive Garden a partial refund of sales taxes for a decade, as long as the restaurant generates a minimum $40,000 a year in general sales taxes. The new place expected to create up to 60 full-time jobs. That's according to the Business Journal.
It is 7:08. We'll check the roadways and the weather when we come back. Stay with us here on Total Information AM.
Wait, Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
NeoVitan began with one doctor's mission to help others feel their best. After years of caring for patients, Dr. Ken Ribicki, a St. Louis physician, created NeoVitan, a line of multivitamins designed with quality, safety, and everyday wellness in mind. Each formula is made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients to support real people living real lives. Discover the difference today with NeoVitan, available at Schnucks, Deerbirds, and neovitan.com. NeoVitan, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is now 7:10. Here's Roger Brand. He's got the latest on your ride in from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, got delays out there. A little bit better news for folks down south there. But they did clear that crash just a few minutes ago, southbound 55 just south of Z. So lanes are back open. And it's just a slowdown coming through Z as opposed to a jam that we had 10 minutes ago. Northbound 55, McNutt up through Z slow. They were looking at that crash, of course. And it's slow again north of Merrimack, bottom up past Butler Hill, where we have that semi-crash on the shoulder. It was a minor one, but everybody's just sort of looking at it on the way by, obviously. Northbound 55, Bales to River to Pears, also slow after that. Northbound 270 from 55 through Gravois about midway to 44 is heavy. Doherty Ferry up to Manchester and through Clayton Road a couple of spots. Southbound 270 at Ladou's a little busy. Southbound 61 pockets from P onto 64 to the Boulevard. It's jammed east of 364 through Winghaven. A crash, a car to the median at that point is the reason why it's backing up there. Eastbound 70 approaching 79 is a little slow. Westbound 270 still has delays approaching Lilac through 367 due to a recently cleared crash. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64, 50 through 159 is on the brakes, then pockets on 64 from the 70 splits out to Poplar. Next update is 720 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, areas of rain and even a thunderstorm for a while this morning, then mainly cloudy the rest of today and becoming warmer this afternoon, high 66. Tonight remaining mostly cloudy and mild with a shower or thunderstorm around, mainly early, low just 58. Breezy and warmer tomorrow with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high 79. Saturday could start with a shower, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy, and cooler, high 64, then temperature will slowly fall. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have cloudy skies, 50 degrees in Florissant. It's 47 in St. Peters and some light rain, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Big win for SLU basketball last night, capturing at least a share of the A-10 Conference Championship. Plus, we'll have a report from Matt Pauley in Jupiter, Florida. I'm Brian Feldman, sports in 2 minutes.
It is 7:13 as Iran's retaliatory attacks are causing the war to expand in other parts of the Middle East. Illinois Senator and combat war vet Tammy Duckworth tells CNN she's not sad to see the Ayatollah gone.
For a man who ordered the deaths of thousands of his own citizens. But, they've cut off the head of the biggest snake, and now there are all these other snakes that are there. And the people who are most organized right now are not Kurdish freedom fighters, are not Iranian democracy protesters. The people who are most organized and funded are terrorist groups.
Senator Duckworth says the Trump administration is basically creating a power vacuum and an environment where groups like ISIS could emerge in the region, something she says will further destabilize the Middle East and further put America and America's national interests in further jeopardy.
Missouri Congresswoman Ann Wagner says President Trump has the authority and obligation to wage war on Iran under the War Powers Resolution, but that's not what many in the House and Senate believe. Wagner tells our sister station KFTK the Iran hostage crisis in 1979 gave birth to the Reagan Revolution.
And again, the beginning of peace through strength. And that is what our president is doing through his Article 2 authorities as commander-in-chief. And I want to make sure that your listeners understand that as commander-in-chief, the Article 2 of our United States Constitution gives him the not just the authority, but the obligation to protect American troops and assets in the region.
Wagner says President Trump is doing this under the War Powers Resolution voted on yesterday in the Senate. The resolution requires the president to get congressional approval before taking further military action against Iran. Failed the vote 47-53 on party lines.
Longtime political observer and political policy expert tells KMOX the U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Stephen Witkoff's take on diplomacy violates longtime political and diplomatic rules.
He negotiates real estate deals, and that's not how diplomacy works. And it just feels like he's playing a game that's just very, very different than what has traditionally been the code for how diplomacy works.
John Shaw is director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. He says the administration's new approach to negotiations flips how the U.S. has traditionally operated overseas.
It's a fairly crude transactional approach to negotiating that reflects the Trump administration, but usually does not lead to sustainable agreement.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And by Happy Roof, we always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
The Cardinals lose to the Nicaraguan WBC team 2-1 yesterday. While the position player group consisted mostly of minor leaguers, the club runs out a number of pitchers who are likely to be on the opening day roster. Expected opening day starter Matthew Liberatore becomes the first Cardinals pitcher to pitch into the fourth this spring, allowing 2 runs. Manager Oliver Marmol says Liberatore is right where they want him to be.
Some may start to ask about early in camp is like velo, which is kind of not a box we care to check this early on. But the fact that he's inching towards where we need that to be. He's locating his secondary stuff really well. Like a game like today was solid.
This time last year, it was not clear if Liberatore was going to be a starter. Now he's the club's presumed top starter. Marmol says it allows Liberatore's spring work to be even better.
When you know that the club is committed to you in that kind of role, then it allows you to just double down on the things that you know you need long term in order to do it well.
Liberatore has now thrown 8 1/3 innings over 3 spring starts, allowing a total of 3 runs. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
The Cardinals face the Pirates today in Bradenton, Florida. Dustin May will start on the mound. It's the free agent signee's first Grapefruit League appearance. He'll oppose Mitch Keller, first pitch 12:05 right here on KMOX. On to college hoops.
Brady Dunlap's going to dribble it out. 4, 3, 2, 1, 79, 65. The Bills win it. They're now 27-3 on the season, 15-2. And regular season conference champions.
Bob Ramsey says it all on KMOX. The Billikens regular season conference champions in the A10 after taking down Loyola Chicago last night at Chaffetz Arena. SLU gets the 1 seed in the upcoming conference tournament. Amari McCautry, 18 points. Deion Brown, 15. And SLU finishes unbeaten at Chaffetz for the first time in the building's 18-year history. One more regular season game to go. That is Saturday at George Mason. On the ice, the Blues take down the Kraken 3-2 to stop Seattle's 5-game winning streak. Dylan Holloway with the go-ahead goal in the second period. The Blues will stay out west and face the Sharks tomorrow night. And other hockey news, it appears Colton Parayko is on the move. TSN reports the Blues trading the defenseman to Buffalo. Parayko in the 4th year of an 8-year contract and a key member of the 2019 Stanley Cup team right here in St. Louis. With reports at 15:45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball. KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardy, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
I'm Dan Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, millions of people called us for representation. Why? Because trust grows when you win, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion and counting. When you call America's largest injury law firm, you're calling a family. You're calling an army, our army. You're calling somebody who will fight for you. Injured? Let our family fight for your family. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Now the news. At 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Megan Lynch and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're heading into work this morning, you got some delays. Obviously, weather is certainly a part of it on your drive in. If you're coming in from the North County area or out of Madison County, the only good spot we have, the bright spot, I guess, is westbound 270 is finally back on track there. But eastbound 70 is slow east of K to TR Hughes. Cave Springs through Zembel's kind of slow. Southbound 61 approaching Highway P down on the 64 through Prospect is slow. It jams 364 through Winghaven. We have that crash east of Winghaven. It looks like they may have gotten out of the way. It's a little better there. We still have this crash. It's been out there all morning. This is the first problem we had. Westbound 44, before you get to Lewis Road, it's jammed up through Antire down the hill to Lewis westbound. Thankfully, eastbounders are not slowing for a look. Northbound 55 still a little slow at Highway Z. It's heavy north of Merrimack Bottom up to 270. All lanes from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. North 270 jammed, merging on with the 55 traffic. Then it's slow to Gravois, and then Big Bend most of the way up to Ladue. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley is heavier. On the Illinois side, westbound 64 50 through 159 is jammed. Baugh Avenue and Exchange from the merge point on to 64 to the Poplars slow as well. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, we're going to see some more rain this morning. Otherwise cloudy today, warmer, a high of 66. We could see more showers and thunderstorms this evening, mostly cloudy overnight with a low of 58. Right now, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:22 and the news continues. A 56-year-old Godfrey man is accused of sexually abusing and assaulting a victim for 4 years. Ernest L. Smith facing felony counts, several felony counts of predatory sexual assault of a child. A Riverbender reporting that the abuse began in January 2019 when the child was 8 and continued through February 2023. The investigation began after the child told a therapist and a friend who reported the abuse to the victim's guardian.
The Major K Squad has been activated following the killing of a 41-year-old Carlisle, Illinois woman. Sadie Tall was found in her home on Fairfax Street. She'd been shot once in the head. Investigators have followed up on more than 63 leads. They're asking anyone who had contact with Tall leading up to her death to notify the Major Case Squad or Crime Stoppers.
The former police chief of the Carlisle Police Department is facing federal charges for embezzlement. 52-year-old Mark Pingsterhouse has been charged with 2 counts of wire fraud, 2 counts of theft of government funds for allegedly embezzling more than $100,000. The indictment says the Pingsterhouse took funds between 2017 and 2025 when he acted as police chief for the city of Carlisle and as the chief financial officer for the Carlisle Fire Protection District.
Pingsterhouse accused of using money for things like WNBA tickets and jewelry. He's also accused of taking funds from the Carlisle Police Department's Drug and Education Fund, the FBI Springfield field office leading the investigation.
St. Louis County is giving grace to bars, gas stations, and other venues with now illegal video lottery terminals, at least for now.
St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Melissa Price-Smith says her office is working with the Missouri Attorney General, but says they are also working with the businesses who stock these illegal slot machines.
Our most important goal right now is to give these store owners notice that these machines are illegal. We want to give them an opportunity to get in compliance to get rid of the machines.
Price-Smith says if they cannot remove these large machines in time, they should unplug them and cover them up. She says starting June 1st, they will prosecute those who deploy these machines until the law changes legalizing them. She declined to comment on County Executive Sam Page saying he would go after the liquor licenses of businesses who use them. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Republicans in the Missouri legislature want to make it harder to pass constitutional amendments on statewide ballots. A Cole County judge Wednesday ruled the ballot language must clearly alert voters that it's the intent of that measure and remove what critics call ballot candy from the language. Judge Daniel Green says the first 2 lines merely restated current law.
Amendment 4 will be on the November ballot and would make it possible for a small minority of voters to defeat constitutional amendments. The case was brought by the Missouri Association of Realtors, which is backing an opposition PAC whose spokesman says the judge recognized the legislative attempt to mislead citizens.
Missouri House Committee advances the proposal to eliminate the state income tax. The Commerce Committee voted 7-3 yesterday to send the constitutional amendment to the full House. Under Governor Mike Kehoe's plan, the state would gradually phase out individual income taxes as sales tax revenue hits certain benchmarks. That includes expanding the sales tax to cover services which currently aren't taxed.
Supporters say it would make Missouri more competitive and put money back in workers' pockets. House Minority Leader Ashley Awney says, quote, nobody in Missouri is complaining that sales taxes are too low. If the full legislature approves it, voters would have the final say in November.
Missouri lawmakers are also debating new statewide insurance standards for drivers who work through apps like DoorDash or Walmart Spark. I'm Michael Calhoun. York and Schlamer, representing Walmart, testified against the bill.
I think the key point is when does a person stop using their car for personal use and when does it start becoming commercial use?
The measure from Marshall Republican Senator Curtis Gregory is now being considered by the Senate Insurance and Banking Committee. He says he wants Missouri drivers adequately covered at all times.
There's a new man in charge of the St. Louis Development Corporation. Stephen Westbrooks has been named the new president and CEO of the city's development arm, most recently serving as the executive director of the Illinois Facilities Fund. He oversaw $1 billion in assets there.
Westbrooks is a St. Louis native who has served on local boards and councils, including the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the Great Rivers Greenway Foundation, and Tower Grove Park. In a statement, Westbrooks says he sees great potential in St. Louis and looks forward to collaborating with stakeholders to drive meaningful change. His first day at the SLDC is on March 30th.
It's 7:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
There's nothing like hearing your friends and family clearly. A grandchild's laugh, conversation with a friend, or the punchline to a joke. Charlie Brennan here with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler and her team understand that hearing is personal. That's why you'll always work with certified audiologists like Adam Voss, Bailey Campbell, and Dr. Colleen Bosler.
That's right, Charlie. We offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so our recommendations are based on what fits you best. With us, we follow best practice fitting methods to ensure your hearing aids are programmed precisely for your unique hearing needs. But our care doesn't end when you walk out the door. As we know, hearing aids require continued support, adjustments, and maintenance, and we offer these services at no extra cost to you. Because better hearing isn't just about devices, it's about reconnecting to the moments that matter most. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
KMOX, delivering accurate, timely reporting every day and rising to the moment when major stories unfold.
I think the president has all the authority he needs to protect the country from the revolutionary regime in Iran.
The Iranian Air Force is no more.
The U.S. government said to all Americans in the Middle East, get out.
There are real fears a longer conflict could lead to higher inflation. One reason? Rising gasoline prices.
We will now begin to expand inland.
If it matters, it's on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At 7:30, we have cloudy skies, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working the first problem we had this morning, Debbie, with the incident blocking the right lane westbound 44 west of Antire, midway down the hill to Lewis. Traffic jams approaching Antire. It's almost midway back to 141 on westbound 44. Keeps getting worse slowly because, like I said, it's been out there for hours. Fortunately, it's not bothering eastbound drivers. If you're on northbound 55, there's a little bit of a slowdown north of Highway 8, primarily south of Butler Hill up to 270 slow. Then you've got delays from the Union Road overpass up across River to Pear, north 270 slow as you ramp on from 55 through Gravois, then 44 all the way to Ladue, south 270 south of 364 to Ladue is busy, eastbound 70 Lake St. Louis, or Bryan Road rather, into TR Hughes is slow, 370 through Cave Springs busy, 270 into the Rock Road. Southbound 61 is still off the pace, almost midway between W and P, down onto 64 up to 364, and from there it's pockets through Winghaven. They had the left lane blocked there by a crash. Left lane blocked by a crash, eastbound 370 east of the Mills, a little delay there. Westbound 64, Science Center headed out through Big Bend is bumper-to-bumper pockets. On the Illinois side, westbound 64, a solid jam from 50 through 159. 64 slow at Baugh, 5570 west of 203, and that goes across the Poplar. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Some more rain this morning, otherwise cloudy today, warmer with a high of 66 degrees. Cloudy tonight with a shower or thunderstorm in spots early in the evening, an overnight low of 58. And then tomorrow, breezy and warmer, a mix of clouds and sun, a high of 79. Right now, we do have a little bit of light rain, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:31. A homicide suspect is dead following a standoff with U.S. Marshals and St. Louis police at the Red Roof Plus in the 5800 block of Wilson. That's just west of the hill at 44 in Hampton.
A second man in the room with the homicide suspect had a gunshot graze wound to his head, but it is not known who shot the man. St. Louis Police Major Janice Bachstruck.
So what happened inside that room is part of our investigation now. So the Force Investigation Unit is here. They will work alongside the Homicide Division in doing an investigation into what occurred inside that room. There was a firearm recovered from inside that room, and that investigation, like I said, is ongoing.
The U.S. Marshals has one St. Louis police officer assigned to the task force. Bachstruck says the man that had the non-life-threatening graze wound potentially has some criminal activity that police are also investigating. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The state-appointed St. Louis City Board of Police Commissioners and the mayor say they aim to reset following tension around civilian oversight and the budget.
We remain transparent, accountable, and finding a way, a responsible way, or a path forward that ensures meaningful.
Board President Chris Saraceno reading an opening statement committing to working collaboratively with the mayor to solve the budget gap and the question of civilian oversight. Mayor Kara Spencer says recent negotiations are still far apart, due in part to the city's responsibility to pay out benefits to officers for life.
Pension costs, those lifelong health benefits, and so those are not included. They were not included in the police department's budget.
Saraceno says the change from local control to state-appointed control has resulted in a lot of these processes being built on the fly.
And at the end of the day, if we don't have the police officers and the citizens of the neighborhoods in the St. Louis at the forefront of what we are discussing, then we're not doing our job.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It is 7:33, and the news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Stick around. We've got your Bloomberg Money Minute coming up next.
Okay, class, let's begin.
Psst, love your boots. I just sold a pair like that on eBay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took like 2 seconds to list, and they sold almost immediately. I've been selling everything lately. Some chunky boots, a faux fur coat I never wore, and a vintage chair that was more of an expensive clothing rack.
You know, I actually bought these on eBay. Wait, are you Kitty Sell Stuff from Brooklyn?
Okay, quiet, please.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay, things people love.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your Money Report now. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The Federal Communications Commission is taking aim at farm-based call centers run by America's telecom giants. The agency is proposing an English proficiency requirement for overseas employees and limits on the volume of calls they can handle. The FCC says the potential rules will encourage telecom companies, including AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, to bring call center jobs back to the U.S. Checking on your money. Yesterday was likely a good day for your 401k. Stocks rose on data showing service industries grew at the fastest pace in 4 years. This morning, stock futures are looking at small losses. Oil is continuing its climb on all the disruptions to the energy markets from the war in the Middle East. And shares of Broadcom soaring in trading. The company says it expects its artificial intelligence chip sales to top $100 billion next year. Broadcom has seen its valuation surge in recent years, helped by deals to make custom AI chips for companies. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
This season, step up to the ultimate game day experience with Cardinals all-inclusive tickets. Enjoy a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views inside Busch Stadium. It's great food with great company for every pitch, hit, and home run. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Proficient Red Jacket Club, and more. See the game like a VIP with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes has become synonymous with quality, luxury, and customization, offering thoughtfully designed homes in the area's most desirable communities. And for the month of March, we're giving you even more room to live. For a limited time, receive a free finished recreation room in the lower level, perfect for entertaining, movie nights, a home gym, or whatever fits your lifestyle. This special incentive is available in select communities and only during the month of March. Visit lombardohomes.com to explore and be sure to ask your sales manager for details.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It is now 7:38, and the news continues on KMOX. We have now the last two names of the 6 U.S. soldiers who died in the Kuwait attack. The soldiers identified yesterday were 55-year-old Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzin of Sacramento and 45-year-old Major Jeffrey O'Brien of Indianola, Iowa. They died Sunday when a drone hit a command center in Kuwait. The strike came one day after the U.S. and Israel launched its military campaign against Iran.
Republicans take another crack at Homeland Security funding, citing the Iran war. The House already approved a DHS spending bill in January. It faltered in the Senate as Democrats insisted on changes to immigration enforcement operations. Funding for the department lapsed on February 14th. Republicans calling on Democrats to reconsider in the wake of the current conflict in Iran, arguing it's a cynical effort that will fail without changes to immigration enforcement operations.
A Haitian man has died in U.S. immigration custody. A man confined at an Arizona immigration detention center for months after the denial of his asylum application has died at a hospital. The man's brother says 56-year-old Emmanuel Damas told officers he had a toothache, but was never sent to a dentist. Damas is among at least 9 people who have died in ICE custody this year. A report from the Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office says Damas's cause of death is pending.
7:40, time to update you on the roads. We'll get the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, how's it look?
There are lots of delays out there, Megan. No surprise, I guess. Wet roads, and it's a busy morning because of it. Eastbound Highway 70, you've got delays from Lake St. Louis Boulevard all the way to TR Hughes, a little slow at 370. East of the Blanchette Bridge to the Rock Road. 370 has a backup east of 141 into the Mills because of a crash in the left lane. Southbound 61 approaching Highway P is heavy all the way down past Winghaven on 64, and then eastbound 64 not so bad after that. A slowdown at Clarkson and at 170. Westbound 64 Kings Highway to Hanley's heavy. South 270 approaching 364 to Ladue, slow. North 270 55 all the way to Ladue, busy. Westbound 44, the big jam, it's still out there west of 141 most of the way down the hill past Antire midway to Lewis Road. That right lane closed down at the bottom of the hill as you get around the bend. Northbound 55, the right lane south of Butler Hill to 270. All lanes from Green Park up to River to Bear are heavy. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 jams from 50 through 159. And then it's heavy at 25th Street, 5570 approaching 203. And that's all slow across the Poplar. And eastbound 44 from Park out on the 70 to almost Salisbury, you've got congestion. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Let's get you caught up on the forecast. It looks like things might be brightening up a little bit in downtown St. Louis. Just looks still a little overcast, but our AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg tells us what's in store.
Well, it's definitely still just cloudy across the air, and I think we're going to keep those clouds all day long, Debbie. Most of the showers and thunder showers now are slipping to the east of the city. There's still some showers around north, west, south, and east, but they're real spotty in nature at this point in time. And I think once we get past late morning, the rest of the day is probably pretty dry. Our high temperature gets to 66. It could be a shower or thunderstorm in the area tonight, especially early to low 58. But then the warm air really takes over tomorrow. A south to southwest breeze. Clouds break for some sun. Temperatures will get into the upper 70s. Watch out for some strong to potentially severe thunderstorms tomorrow night ahead of a cold front. As it moves through early Saturday, a leftover shower early, then mostly cloudy, breezy, and cooler. We start at 64 and end at the 50s on Saturday. But that cool down is brief, and we go right back to 70 with some sunshine on Sunday and probably into the upper 70s to near 80 with sunshine on Monday. Right now it's 47 at St. Peter's, 48 in Florissant, cloudy, 50 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
An undefeated season at home for St. Louis University men's basketball. How about that? Highlights from their game last night against Loyola Chicago coming up in sports in 2 minutes.
More news now at 7:43. The House Oversight Committee has voted to subpoena U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
The motion compels Bondi to appear before the panel for a closed-door deposition on the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files. 5 Republicans voted with every Democrat on the committee to subpoena Bondi. Massachusetts Democrat Stephen Lynch says not all the files have been released as Congress had ordered.
We do know that a large tranche of the information that identified President Donald Trump, that was withheld by Bondi.
An index of the files listed FBI interviews with a woman who accused Trump of sexually assaulting her when she was a minor. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's office are dropping a criminal probe into whether former Democratic President Joe Biden and his aides unlawfully used an auto pen to issue pardons. The matter was closed because prosecutors were never able to find a legal hook to be able to pursue the matter further.
Recently, a grand jury also refused to indict 6 Democrat lawmakers over charges they violated the law by urging military service members to reject unlawful orders in a video released last fall. In that matter, not a single grand juror voted in favor of an indictment.
Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez now acknowledges he had an affair with a former staffer who later died by suicide.
Hours after the House Ethics Committee announced it would investigate whether Gonzalez engaged in sexual misconduct, the Republican told conservative radio host Joe Pags,
I made a mistake and I had a lapse in judgment.
Gonzalez did not discuss his relationship with former staffer Regina Santos Aviles, who took her own life last year, but said he had nothing to do with her death. Gonzalez's GOP primary runoff opponent, Brandon Herrera, posted on X, quote, "Is there anyone left who still trusts this now objectively proven liar?" Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Senate chose not to rein in President Trump's war powers. The House expected to vote on the War Powers Act today. Meanwhile, many Americans trying to flee the Middle East say they're trapped. They say they're not getting the help they need from the U.S. government. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang has more.
President Trump projected optimism about the war with Iran.
Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
But the administration is getting lower marks for its efforts to help Americans escape the conflict zone. Trump was asked this week why there wasn't an evacuation plan.
Well, because it happened all very quickly.
Good morning. I'm Brian Feldman filling in for Tom Ackerman. In 18 years at Chaffetz Arena, St. Louis University men's basketball has never gone undefeated at home until now. After beating Loyola Chicago 79-65 last night, they finished the regular season 19-0 at Chaffetz. The win also clinches at least a share of the regular season conference championship. And it was sophomore guard Amari McCautry leading the way.
Robbie drives, Ruben waiting on him, hands it inside to McCautry, left hand layup, good! From Robbie, it's a McCautry bucket.
Excellent work inside that interior passing in traffic. Amari having himself a night.
Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. on the call. Yes, quite a night for McCautry. A team-high 18 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Deion Brown adds 15 of his own. SLU finishes up the regular season this Saturday at George Mason. On the ice, the Blues take down the Kraken 3-2 to stop Seattle's 5-game winning streak. Next up, they will stay out west and face the Sharks tomorrow night. On to baseball.
Richard Fitz makes his second appearance of spring training, throwing 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen in the team's 2-1 loss to the Nicaraguan WBC team. He's now thrown 5 innings without allowing a run, with his fastball sitting in the high 90s. Manager Oliver Marmol says he likes the way Fitz attacks hitters.
Usage on even the fastball sinker, I think he mixed in 10 sinkers, so it's hard to just sit on one when you have 2 fastballs doing different things, and mix his other stuff well enough to keep you off balance.
Starters' innings are getting tougher and tougher to find during Grapefruit League play, especially with Dustin May joining the rotation today. Fitz piggybacks yesterday, throwing the final 3 innings. Manager Oliver Marmol says Fitz can compete for a rotation spot even without getting starts in spring.
If he's in a piggyback, and as long as he's getting ramped up and getting the innings, I think it's fine. And it still allows him to show us what he's capable of doing. So I'm not extremely concerned as to like him starting it or coming in after somebody at the moment.
Fitz throws 19 of the 33 highest velocity pitches in the game. In Jupiter, Florida, at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
The Cardinals face the Pirates today in Bradenton. Dustin May will start on the mound. He'll oppose Mitch Keller. First pitch 12:05 right here on KMOX and on the pitch.
St. Louis City SC midfielder Miguel Perez knows the path of a young pro isn't always straight up. After a 2024 loan to USL team Birmingham Legion, Miguel says the experience challenged him, especially mentally, living on his own at age 18, being away from family, and adjusting to a more physical league. But it shaped him.
Yeah, I think it's just a mental thing. Just believe in yourself and have confidence is the main thing.
Miggy says coming back this preseason, his mindset was simple, to play like he belongs. And that belief showed when he earned the start against San Diego for the missing DP, Marcel Hartle. Now he's focused on continuing to grow, train hard, and prove that he's always an option for the first team. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
City SC faces Seattle Saturday night. With reports at 15 and 45 past the hour, I'm Brian Feldman on your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball, KMOX.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Today, scammers use AI, fake voices, and realistic messages to make fraud look real. If you're pressured to act fast or promise guaranteed returns, don't fall for the call. I'm Denny Hoskins, Missouri Secretary of State. Our office regulates investing and works to protect investors. Call the Missouri Securities Hotline at 800-721-7996 or visit MissouriProtectsInvestors.com. Paid for by the Missouri Investor Education and Protection Fund. This is a public service announcement.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's get you caught up on your ride in. It is 7:51. Roger Brands in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change, unfortunately, Debbie. Westbound 44, this is one of the first crashes we had this morning. Westbound 44, west of Antire, about midway down the hill to Lewis. Right lane's blocked for while they try to wrap it up, but it's jammed west of 141, so the jam has slowly gotten worse through the morning. As you are headed that way, just be prepared. It's not any better, it's worse. So northbound 55 backed up Bayless through Weber, then it's slow up to Virginia. North 270 backed up 55 to Gravois. Looks like we have an incident there at Gravois. It's slow from 44 all the way up to Ladue. South 270, almost Dorch to Ladue is busy. Eastbound 70, there are pockets from 64 into TR Hughes, a little busy at Cave Springs, and from 5th Street in toward the Rock Road. 370, 141 past the Mills, where we had that crash in the left lane. Southbound 61 at P and Wentzville Parkway, a couple of slow spots. On to 64 at Stop and Go pockets through Winghaven. It's slow east of 270 through Lindbergh and McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, and Clayton Warson out to 270 is pretty busy. South 170, a couple of spots from coming down from Delmar. Eastbound 44 downtown backs up at 55 to the Poplar, and then it's slow out into 70 past the McKinley. And westbound 64 jam 50 through 159 west of 25th Street and 5570 near Exchange, heavy across the Poplar. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Still some rain this morning, otherwise cloudy today, warmer, a high of 66. Mostly cloudy with a shower or thunderstorm in spots as we head into this evening. Overnight, just cloudy skies with a low of 58. And then tomorrow it's going to be breezy and warmer with a mix of clouds and sun, a high around 79 degrees. Right now we have cloudy skies, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:52. Health Secretary RFK Jr. setting his sights on Dunkin'. And New Englanders aren't happy.
Kennedy issued this challenge to Dunkin' and Starbucks.
Show us the safety data that show that it's okay for a teenage girl to drink an iced coffee with 115 grams of sugar in it.
Massachusetts Democratic Governor Maura Healey responded in a tweet, "Come and take it." Yas Mankari visits a Dunkin' in Boston every morning.
Thank you.
Her message to RFK Jr.?
Don't try it.
She says she's not worried about the sugar content in her iced coffee with cream, blueberry, and butter pecan.
It's my pick-me-up for the day.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
GLP-1 drugs used to treat diabetes and obesity could also help treat addiction. Correspondent Michael George reports.
A study published in the British Medical Journal found the medications help lower the risk of addiction to alcohol, cannabis, nicotine, and opioids. Studies suggest the reason is because GLP-1 drugs act on the brain's reward pathways. But the study's authors say more research is needed.
MoNet is a recovery community center for people who use drugs in South City. Michelle Charbonnier is the executive director.
They can take a nap, get a cup of coffee, do laundry, and we provide lots of resources. We provide safe use kits, naloxone, and treatment referrals, as well as peer support work.
Charbonnier says most people walk by the facility or hear about the center from others. MoNet is funded mainly through the federal government or through the state's health and senior services and private donations.
The National Churchill Museum in Fulton is closer to becoming a National Historic Landmark. The U.S. representatives passed the designation. The Senate has already passed a similar bill. The two bills must agree, though, before going to the president for approval. Tim Riley directs the museum.
It's an honorific, to be sure, and we join the list of, St. Louis Arch and other great landmarks that are hallmarks of Missouri. From a tourism perspective, it's always nice to be on a list like that.
St. Louis native and retired New York Archbishop Cardinal Timothy Dolan started his new job yesterday.
It's a part-time gig, officially being sworn in as the co-chaplain of the New York City Police Department.
I've been frequently thanking the Lord for the abundant blessings he gave me during my 17 happy years here as Archbishop. And you know what? This morning's ceremony sure ranks high up among them.
Cardinal Dolan will serve alongside the Reverend A.R. Bernard. The two will oversee the NYPD chaplains unit and minister to the officers and their families in times of tragedy. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A rebrand for the St. Louis Senior Olympics. It's now the St. Louis Legends Games.
The Gen X and people who aren't retired yet, and even people who traditionally are of an age that senior would apply to them, is just not applying to them, and they're not associating with it anymore.
Stephanie Ray with the Jewish Community Center says the new name reflects a broader, more inclusive vision of active aging in community. Events run the gamut from swimming to track and field and hockey to poker, mahjong, and bowling. Registration's now open. The games are in May.
I'm Sean Malone. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
The weekend is coming, and no doubt there will be some open houses. And if you are thinking of selling your home, do you want to sell your home that way? If you do, that's great, but you don't want to do too many of them. You want to sell your home quickly and for the most money. Gloria Liu is the person you need to call to have that accomplished, to sell your home quickly and for the most money. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will guarantee in writing that she'll sell your home at the price and time frame you both agree upon, or she will buy your home herself. So you know that your home is sold. And I think that is a huge weight off somebody's shoulders, because otherwise you're sitting around waiting and hoping and crossing your fingers. She has a lot of different ways to sell a home too. So maybe you don't want to do open houses. You don't want to just do the traditional sign in the yard kind of thing. That's fine. Talk to Gloria about it. She will sell your home for the most money. And she and her team sell hundreds of homes a year. So it's not like she just sells a few. This woman knows what she's doing and gives upfront written guarantees. That's how sure she is she'll sell your home. Give her a call at 314-325-6888 or find her online now at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce.
It's spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the
The
Lance
Gen
Drury
X
Law Firm
and-
will protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Your ride home just got a lot less of this and a lot more of this.
The 3-2 pitch with the runner going, a swing and a high fly ball, deep left field, and it's a gunner.
Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, Bernie Miklasz, 3 voices, 1 hour, all Cardinals. From roster battles in Jupiter to pennant races in St. Louis, the Redbird Rush Hour delivers. The Redbird Rush Hour, weeknights at 5 on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our jam, Debbie, on westbound 44. It's basically almost 141, most of the way down the west side of the entire hill toward Lewis. Right lane's blocked from that crash from early this morning. Northbound 55 still slow from Bayless up through Holly Hills. North 270 backs up 55 to Gravois because of a crash just north of Gravois. They're trying to get out of the way. And then north of 44 all the way up to Ladue is busy. Southbound 270, Dorset down to Ladue is slow. Eastbound 70, a little busy approaching Lake St. Louis, K to TR Hughes, and 94 into the Rock Road heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, and then it's slow again. Clayton Warson out to 270. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This is Thursday, March 5th. I'm Megan Lynch. Next hour on Total Information AM, could use of drones in warfare cross legal lines? We'll hear from an attorney who specializes in international law.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. Americans are frustrated they can't get out of the Middle East. CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand will have the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Some rain and even a thunderstorm in the area for a while this morning. Mostly cloudy the rest of today, the high 66.
In CBS News, new threats aimed at the U.S. as airstrikes pound Iran.
The trusted voice of St. Louis, KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The conflict broadens in the Middle East. Eyewitness video shows explosions hitting western Iran with flames and black smoke billowing over the skyline. Chief correspondent Matt Gutman begins our coverage from Tel Aviv.
What we're seeing is a sort of race against the clock. The U.S. and Israel are trying to wipe out Iran's missile capacity before they run out of missile interceptors, without which the city behind me would likely be smoldering. And while Iran is trying to conserve its stockpile in anticipation of a longer war.
Iran has launched a new wave of attacks against Israel, American military bases, and countries across the region. Robert Berger reports from Jerusalem.
We've continued to have air raid alerts throughout the day here, but it's much more sparse. The missiles coming in are much more sparse than they have been. Maybe one missile at a time, maybe two, but people are still running to bomb shelters. But because it's sparse, and these missiles are being knocked down by Israeli defensives, the all clear is announced a short time later.
Turkey's issued a strong condemnation after 2 Iranian drones fell on Azerbaijan today. Politico reporting the president's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, is telling advisors to come up with ways to lower gas prices that have been climbing since the war began. According to AAA, they're up another few cents. Gas Buddies' Patrick DeHaan.
We are now up over 24 cents from where we were over the weekend.
The average price per gallon nationwide today, $3.25. Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez now acknowledges he had an affair with a former staffer before she died by suicide.
Hours after the House Ethics Committee announced it would investigate whether Gonzalez engaged in sexual misconduct, the Republican told conservative radio host Joe Pags,
I made a mistake and I had a lapse in judgment.
Gonzalez did not discuss his relationship with former staffer Regina Santos Aviles, who took her own life last year, but said he had nothing to do with her death. Gonzalez's GOP primary runoff opponent, Brandon Herrera, posted on X, quote, "Is there anyone left who still trusts this now objectively proven liar?" Michael Wallace, CBS News.
An explosion at a cocoa butter plant near Philadelphia. Police say 4 people are in critical condition after the blast. Logan Township, New Jersey, Police Chief Joe Flatley.
We empathize with those that were involved, and the community is safe. There are no ongoing hazards. The air quality is continuing to be monitored to confirm that.
No word on the cause. The business processes cocoa butter for the chocolate industry. Dow futures down 280. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, March 5th. I'm Megan Lynch. One of 6 U.S. soldiers killed in Iran was a student at Webster University. Our partners at Fox 2 report 35-year-old Captain Cody Cork was killed Sunday by an Iranian aircraft system attack. Cork was an online student at Webster who was pursuing his master's degree in business and organizational security management. He earned his undergraduate degree from Florida Southern College. The St. Louis Police Force investigative unit handling the double shooting in the Red Roof Plus Hotel near the Hill neighborhood.
St. Louis Police Major Janice Buckstruck says this started with the U.S. Marshals Task Force assisting St. Louis Police locating a murder suspect.
As they continued their investigation, it led them here to the 5800 block of Wilson, where they located a room that they believed the suspect was in. They announced, and they continued to announce for the individuals inside that room to come out of the room and surrender to law enforcement.
That did not immediately happen. Tear gas was deployed and one person came out of the motel room. He had a graze wound to his head. Buckstruck says the homicide suspect was deceased in the room. Buckstruck added, it is not known at this time how both men ended up being shot, but again, she emphasized that no law enforcement ever fired a shot. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Illinois State Police report crime rates in East St. Louis are at a 45-year low. The agency says the number of homicides and non-fatal shootings there have decreased every year since 2020. Homicides are down 56%, non-fatal shootings down 61%. The state-appointed St. Louis City Police Board and mayor attempting a reset on 2 major issues.
The Board of Police Commissioners voted to approve new disciplinary procedures and rules without a citizen oversight board. However, Commissioner Sonia Jenkins Gray announced she will work on establishing civilian oversight in some capacity.
Commitment that the board has to move forward in some way with an advisory or an oversight, including the community, including the civilians.
Jenkins Gray's husband, the Reverend Darrell Gray, recently served on the jail's Civilian Oversight Board as its chair. On the topic of the budget, there's a lot of work to be done, and Mayor Kara Spencer stresses time is quickly running out.
The Board of E&A has to consider its budget in the April timeframe, and that has to go through the Board of Aldermen pretty quickly.
The commissioners also said they are committed to more collaboration and transparency with the mayor when constructing their budget. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
City police say they have one of the best benefits packages of any department in the region, but is it helping with recruiting? That's the question Police Chief Robert Tracy posed to Mayor Kara Spencer as she and the state-appointed commissioners work toward building next year's budget. Chief Tracy says while the benefits are attractive to older current officers, there's one thing that matters when it comes to recruiting younger new ones.
All these other police departments, they put their salary and they start right there, and these young men and women come up and say, I'm coming to this police department because of the economics. We in the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department cannot put that up there because it would discourage people.
Mayor Spencer says the city was not responsible for paying for benefits like health insurance for the life of an officer. Salaries could in turn be raised higher. From the KMOX Business Desk, Festus getting a new Olive Garden, and city officials willing to give $4.5 million in incentives to land it. The new Italian-themed restaurant will go in next to Texas Roadhouse on Shapiro Drive off 55. City officials agreed to give Olive Garden a partial refund of sales taxes for a decade. In return, the restaurant agrees to generate a minimum of $40,000 a year in general sales taxes. The new place expected to create up to 60 full-time jobs. Coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to look at the use of drones in modern warfare and where they fall in legal lines. And then a little bit later, we're going to get the latest on Americans stranded in the Middle East with CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand. Traffic and weather in 2 minutes here. It's 8:08.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardy, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Come tour amazing outdoor living spaces, learn from expert gardeners, and browse our spa showcase to turn your backyard dreams into reality.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
In a world of change, music captures the journey of the human spirit. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Bernstein and Robertson, American Reflections, March 6th and 7th. Conductor David Robertson returns to Powell Hall to present works by 4 American luminaries, including Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 2 and Robertson's own piano concerto, March 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Start your summer early at the St. Charles Boat Show, March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Deerbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 8:10. This is Total Information AM here on KMOX. Let's get a check of the forecast or the traffic right now. Then we'll get to the forecast. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change on westbound 44, Megan. We still have the right lanes closed down the hill, the west side of the Antair Hill toward Lewis Road. It's a solid jam at 141. Westbound 44 eastbound is not impacted by it, thankfully. Northbound 270 jam from 55 up through Sappington. Then it's slow through Gravois because of the recent crash. Still heavy pockets north of 44 all the way up through it almost to Olive. South 270, 364 to Olive. That's the busiest part there. Eastbound 70, A and through Bryan Road, there's a couple of slowdowns. K to TR Hughes and 5th Street into the Rock Road. That's all busy. Eastbound 64 coming off 61. You still have slow pockets all the way past Winghaven and from Lindbergh through to about Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley is the worst of it there. Northbound 55, you've still got slow traffic from Bayless up to Virginia. 44 as you approach 55 through the heart of downtown, not past the Musial Veterans Bridge is slow. And westbound 64 still backed up 50 through 159, and then it's slow from Baugh across the Poplar. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We'll have some rain around the area and even a thunderstorm or two for a while this morning. Then it will dry out later today and remain mostly cloudy, but turn warmer with time. The high 66, mostly cloudy and mild tonight. Watch out for a shower or thunderstorm, especially early, though 58. Tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sunshine, breezy and warmer, the high 79. Could be some strong thunderstorms in the area later tomorrow night. For Saturday, a morning shower, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy and cooler. The morning high 64, then temperature will slowly fall. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have cloudy skies, 50 degrees in Florissant, 47 in St. Peters, 49 downtown at the Arch. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM here on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Iran is using low-cost drones called the kamikaze as a key part of its strategy to retaliate for U.S.-Israeli attacks. They're the same drones Russia has been using to target Ukraine. Reports this week indicate the U.S. has now fast-tracked some drone technology of its own for use by the Pentagon. How are these drones used for warfare viewed under international law? I reached out to Craig Martin, a retired naval officer, attorney, and professor focusing on the international laws related to use of force in armed conflicts. Martin is co-director of the International and Comparative Law Center at Washburn University School of Law.
So I think, first of all, there are drones sort of like the Reaper that was used in the targeted killing campaign. These are weapons that are completely controlled by human beings, right? Human beings are flying them, albeit they're not in the cockpit. They're flying it from typically a trailer in Nevada or something. But it is nonetheless under the control of human beings, and human beings are making the decisions as to where they go, and more importantly, when they're going to target, what they're targeting, and when they're going to actually fire their weapons. In contrast to that, the concern more recently is with more autonomous weapon systems and even completely autonomous weapon systems. That is, drones that are operated by AI systems and can determine for themselves, based on their own analysis of a situation, where to go, and most importantly, what to target and when to fire. And that's the thing that is really, I think, of the greatest concern these days. Human Rights Watch and other non-governmental organizations have called for a ban of this kind of system, of systems that would be actually making the decision to kill human beings, for example, without other human beings really being part of the decision-making process. And you'll hear the terms human in the loop, human on the loop, and humans out of the loop in this context. And what that means is that certain systems include a human in the loop, that is, a human being is in the loop of decision making and can countermand the weapon system's decision to fire, for example. The human on the loop is sort of somewhat more distant, but is still able to intervene, is observing and can intervene. And a human out of the loop means a system that is just completely autonomous. It is just making decisions when to fire, what to kill, what to fire upon, what to target. And that's the fully autonomous weapon system that a lot of people have a lot of concerns about, both from an ethical and moral perspective and just a more practical one of whether those kinds of systems are going to be able to comply with international humanitarian law, or the law of armed conflict, which is the legal regime that governs the conduct of armed forces in an armed conflict.
The fact that you say that there are groups suggesting there should be a ban on some of this suggests that maybe there's not really a clear legal framework in some cases for use of drones in international warfare?
So again, I think we have to sort of unpack that. So I think the starting point is that there is a legal regime called international humanitarian law, also sometimes called the law of armed conflict, which does govern both the means and methods of warfare. When we use the term means and methods of warfare, we're talking about the means being the weapon systems and the methods being how those weapon systems are being used. And so there is a very robust and fulsome legal regime that governs how armed forces are to conduct themselves in armed conflict, what weapons can be used and in what circumstances, and how, under what limitations they can be used. And so drones come within that framework. And so when we look at, for example, the use of Reaper drones in Afghanistan or the tribal areas of Pakistan in the 2010s, I don't think there was any concern that the use of drones in those circumstances was somehow outside of or not properly governed by IHL. IHL clearly governed the use of drones, and they were a novel or new weapon system, but they still fit within the framework. The bigger concern more recently is, and there's a debate about whether fully autonomous weapon systems would be able to fully comply with IHL and some of the core principles of IHL, or whether we need some more new legal regime that would govern both the development and the deployment and use on the battlefield of fully autonomous drones. And there is a treaty regime called the CTW, which is short for Conventional Weapons Convention. And countries have been debating for over a decade now whether and how and to what extent there's a need for a new legal regime to govern autonomous weapon systems. And I should say autonomous weapon systems as a concept extends way beyond drones, right? So this is robots or devices of all kinds that are just simply governed by AI and can make decision making, engage in decision making on its own without human intervention. It's sort of a launch and forget weapon. You launch it and it goes out and it can make a decision on its own whether to target an object or a person. Right? And so, but drones, of course, is the weapon that most clearly comes to mind when we're thinking about fully autonomous weapon systems. And the conflict in Ukraine has really exponentially increased the use and versatility of drones on the battlefield.
Drones have been used already in this current Iran conflict. What questions should the public be asking about their use on any side? And especially, I sent you an article from Reuters talking about a drone technology that's been fast-tracked for use in the U.S. military.
Yes. So, the Reuters article you sent me is about the Lucas drone, which is a low-cost drone that was, as you say, fast-tracked by the U.S. military. But as I understand it, at least as far as what's being reported, the Lucas drone is not an autonomous weapon system. And so it is a loiter and fire, but for the most part, there are humans both in the loop or on the loop in the deployment of that system. If we just step back and sort of think, as a layperson, what should I be worried about in terms of my government deploying drones in a field of battle? I think the biggest concern, or the question we would have is, are they deploying it in a way that complies with international humanitarian law? In other words, are they ensuring that the drone, with human decision makers, are not targeting civilians, or that they are taking sufficient precautions in attack so that the harm to civilians and civilian objects is being minimized? If there's going to be collateral damage, are they ensuring that harm to civilians is not excessive in relation to the military advantage? The second concern, I think, these days is the military beginning to flirt with the idea of deploying fully autonomous weapon systems? That is a weapon system, like a drone that is operated by AI and is making the decision to kill human beings without a human being part of that decision making. That raises huge ethical, moral issues. And moreover, it raises concerns about whether an autonomous weapon system, making all the decisions itself without human intervention or supervision, is going to be able to comply with all of the principles of IHL, because some of those principles, the way that they are applied on the battlefield, can be very complex, very value and context dependent. So there are concerns that an AI can't make those kinds of decisions properly in some circumstances. And so we should be concerned about that.
That's Craig Martin with the International and Comparative Law Center at Washburn University School of Law. 8:21, time for a traffic check with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still jammed, Megan, on westbound 44. This jam from 141 all the way down the west side of the Antire Hill from the earlier crash. Only the left lane's open through there right now. Northbound 270, better, but there's still a couple of slow spots. 55 to Sappington. The bulk of the slow going, though, is north of 44 all the way up to Ladue. It's pretty busy. Southbound isn't that bad. Eastbound 70 still a little heavy. Lake St. Louis to Bryan, K to TR Hughes, east of the Blanchette into the Rock Road, eastbound 64, backed up 364 through Winghaven. Then it's slow east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt, westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. Typical delays there. Northbound 55, just off the pace from north of Bayless up through Loughborough, eastbound 44, Park out through the Arch Grounds, westbound 64 still back up 50 through 159 and slow from the 70 split headed across the Poplar. And westbound 270 in North County, looks like we have trouble again at Bellefontaine Road. We have a jam back west of the Canal Bridge. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We may still see a little bit of rain this morning. Otherwise cloudy today. Warmer, a high of 66. Right now, cloudy skies 49 downtown at the Arch.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
When you've been injured in an accident, hurt on the job, or in a medical mishap, there are many reasons to call Morgan & Morgan. But here's reason number 5. We try more cases than anyone in America by a wide margin. We are on approximately 150 dockets a week and win a lot. Go to forthepeople.com to see our verdicts and results. I believe our results give you the best chance of a fair, fast, and just settlement. Insurance companies know who we are by reputation. Imagine me doing this ad if it wasn't true. They would be laughing. Trust me, nobody is laughing. Their employees and adjusters often hire us when they're hurt. They know, and now you know. All law firms are not alike, not even close. With over $30 billion collected for our clients, we became America's largest injury firm for a reason. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Let's look at the latest now in the conflict in the Middle East. Fear and destruction there as the war with Iran rages on. At least a dozen countries in the region have been targeted by drones or missiles. We just talked about that on Total Information AM. But if you missed that conversation, you can go to KMOX.com or the Odyssey app to listen to that. Americans are among the millions that are potentially caught in the crossfire right now, and there's constant bombardment inside Israel. CBS News chief correspondent Matt Gutman is in Tel Aviv.
Race against the clock. The U.S. and Israel are trying to wipe out Iran's missile capacity before they run out of missile interceptors, without which the city behind me would likely be smoldering. And while Iran is trying to conserve its stockpile in anticipation of a longer war, and we're being told that the longer this war lasts, the more it favors Iran, because for the regime, the bar is super low. For them, victory merely means survival.
The war with Iran has many Americans wondering about the possibility of an attack on U.S. soil. Iran's retaliation for airstrikes by the U.S. and Israel has touched at least a dozen other countries in the region. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd has more on what capabilities Iran could have.
Typically, they try to tap into individuals here in the homeland from a range of nationalities that are lawfully allowed to be here, and that they actually just pay money to do their dirty work.
And Iranian state television aired a message Thursday from an Ayatollah in Iran calling for the shedding of blood from Israelis and U.S. President Donald Trump. The war with Iran has many Americans wondering what could happen next. Let's get more now from Sam Vinograd.
In terms of how they accomplish their objectives, Iran has a deep bench of players they tap into to inflict damage. They have entities known as proxies, regional like-minded terrorist organizations. They have their own state agents. The IRGC is a name that's been floating around a lot.
KMOX News Time is now 8:28.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun, but every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. And services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
8:30. Let's update the roads for you. There's a lot of backups out there. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news on a couple of them, Megan. A couple of the westbound ones, they just picked up the lane restrictions, so that's good news. Those are the two biggest jams we had. Westbound 270, they were doing, I think, repair work from that crash earlier this morning near Bellefonte Road. They had only the right lane open, but they just opened all lanes just a moment ago. Now, traffic's still jammed midway between the canal and Chain Rocks Bridge into the area, but hopefully that'll thin out pretty quickly. And westbound 44, they opened up all the lanes before Lewis Road. Traffic is still jammed, 141 most of the way to Antire, though, just crawling, headed up the hill there. Other delays, eastbound 70 still slow, K to 79, 5th Street into the Rock Road, eastbound 64, Lake St. Louis Boulevard through Winghaven, still heavy, east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt, a little busy, westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley, that's slow, North 270, 44 up to Ladue, almost to Olive, southbound just Olive to 64 slow, eastbound 44 past the Arch Grounds downtown heavy, westbound 64, west of 50 through 159 backed up, and then it's still slow from the 70 split across the Poplar. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
May see a little more rain this morning, otherwise cloudy today. It's going to be warm, a high of 66 degrees. Currently, we have cloudy skies, 49 degrees in downtown St. Louis. As we we've been reporting here on KMOX, the Senate chose not to rein in President Trump's war powers during a vote yesterday, and the House is expected to take that up today. Meanwhile, Americans trying to flee the Middle East say they are now trapped in a war zone. Joining me, CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand with the latest. Good morning, Natalie.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Are there many Republicans right now who support pulling back on the mission in Iran?
So right now, if you talk to Republicans over on Capitol Hill, the vast majority of them are in support of the current operation. And that's why we saw that war powers resolution vote in the Senate aimed at trying to limit further military action in Iran right now fail. But some GOP lawmakers have expressed that if this expands in scope or ground troops get involved, that could change their position. Some GOP lawmakers saying that, yes, boots on the ground would require congressional authorization. And then one thing I'm watching is there, is a law in the books, the War Powers Act of 1973, which limits troops from remaining for more than 60 days without congressional authorization. So there is a timeline that we should be watching if this extends, weeks and weeks longer.
There are some Americans trapped in the Middle East right now that are worried about how long it's going to last. Some of them are saying they didn't get much notice to try and get out of the region. What are you hearing?
Yeah, and now there's a flurry of activity by the State Department to try to help them get out. The State Department saying that charter flights are underway. A spokesman saying that, they've helped more than 7,000 people with travel guidance, who reached their 24/7 task force that's been stood up. But it's our belief that there could be around 1 million or so in the region, although it's unclear how many of them are trying to get back. We know that one challenge has been that airspace has been closed in a number of places. So that's impacting the ability to get on a commercial flight. It's impacting the ability for charter flights to get in or out. But the State Department says they do want to hear from people, although there's also been reports of the hotline having issues. And, CBS News, our correspondent in Israel, Matt Gutman, even tried to call himself and repeatedly struggled to get through, although a producer this morning from the United States was able to get someone on the line. So the message really that the State Department is stressing is if you are stranded, they want to hear from you. They want you to go to their website and try to fill out the intake form or try to get someone on the phone. They have all the numbers and information there, and they are trying to organize surge charter flights, military flights as they're available, or try to, help people book commercial opportunities, or in some cases, land routes that would get to countries that might have airports open.
Historically, the U.S. embassies there would be a route. What's the status of the embassies there at this point?
Yeah, well, they're still, trying to help people, but obviously in some places they've gone down to, just minimal staffing based on the threats that we've seen, the missile threats to U.S. assets in the region. And that's why there is this separate task force that's, running an operation to try to help the Americans stranded abroad. And it seems like that is, based here in Washington, D.C. So the administration has faced a lot of questions and criticism about, the initial struggles with that hotline. But now the message is, they are trying to work around the clock to get help to anyone who needs it.
CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to check your money report, get another check of traffic, and then we're going to get a look at the latest snapshot of the region's economy with the St. Louis Fed.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Italian subs for your finance team at Chicago. Easy Cater.
Burritos for your call center crew in Plano. Easy Cater. Bagels for your sales reps meeting clients in Charlotte. Easy Cater. Hot chicken sandwiches for your third shift warehouse workers in Memphis. Easy Cater. Your teams may be spread out across the country, but you've got one platform to feed them all, whenever and wherever they work, with food they love from favorite restaurants. Easy Cater. Food for the workplace, all in one place. Order now at easycater.com.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Pink slips are being handed out at Morgan Stanley. The Wall Street giant laying off about 3% of its global workforce, which is approximately 2,500 workers. Employees in a number of divisions are targeted, including investment banking and wealth management operations. Sources tell us the cuts are tied to individual performance, as well as changes in its business priorities and efforts to keep a lid on expenses. Checking on your money, stock futures are looking at losses this morning. Oil continuing its climb on all of the disruptions to the energy markets from the war in the Middle East. Crude is rising to $77 a barrel. And the owner of the New York Stock Exchange is investing in a cryptocurrency exchange. Intercontinental Exchange is acquiring a stake in OKX. The transaction comes about a year after OKX agreed to pay roughly $500 million in penalties after prosecutors accused it of processing more than $1 trillion of transactions without a license. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Dave. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free and 0% financing for 36 months, plus $500 off your project. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Iran has launched a new wave of attacks against Israel, American bases, and countries around the Gulf region. Meanwhile, renewed retaliatory strikes from Iran are again raising anxiety in U.S. markets, sending energy prices higher. U.S. benchmark crude jumped 3.5% to the highest level in more than a year. In Missouri, the House one step closer to putting a major tax overhaul before voters. The Commerce Committee voted along party lines to advance the constitutional amendment eliminating the state income tax. Let's see if things are starting to wind down a little bit on the roads. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we're getting better, Megan. It's still a little slow westbound 270 approaching the Chain of Rocks Bridge due to MoDOT road work they picked up on the Missouri side. Westbound 70, just west of Forestell, most of the way into Wright City. There's a backup there. We're just clearing a crash there. Eastbound 70 still a little busy. East of the Blanchette into the Rock Road. Westbound 70 around the city limits also heavy. Eastbound 64, both sides of Winghaven are kind of bogged down, and it's still slow east of Lindbergh to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley still slow. North 270, 44 all the way up to almost Olive is still heavy. Southbound Olive to 64, still some slower traffic. Westbound 44, a brief jam approaching 141. It opens up about midway to Antire now, so getting better pretty quickly there. On the Illinois side, westbound 64 is still slow, both sides of 159, and still heavy from the 70 split to the Poplar. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we are expecting a warm day today, a high of 66 degrees with cloudy skies. Cloudy tonight, showers and thunderstorms possible in spots, a low of 58. And then tomorrow, breezy and warmer, a mix of clouds and sun, really warm We're expecting a high tomorrow, 79 degrees. Right now we have cloudy skies, 49 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM on KMOX. Multiple times a year, the Federal Reserve taps into its network of key business contacts, economists, market experts to get a read on the economy. And for our region of the country, that report comes through the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. I'm joined in studio this morning by senior economist Charles Gaskin. Charles, thank you so much for coming in with us this morning.
I'm happy to be here.
So I was asking before we came on air, just kind of assuming that this is kind of a quiet time of year. The holidays are done. We're not quite into some of the main agriculture or housing. So overall, what's the picture?
Yeah, so overall, the picture is one in which conditions generally remain unchanged since our last report, but they are expected to increase over the next couple of months. So that's a positive thing that we did hear from contacts. Labor market conditions were generally pretty stable. And then reports on consumer spending were mixed. So we saw some positive signs in there, as well as some weakness. And then, as you mentioned, there are some areas that are slow, but there's a lot of planning going on. So when we're talking to our business contacts with respect to ag, a lot of it has to do with getting financing set up for the spring planting season, and even the housing market. A lot of businesses are still busy as they start to get plans set for, once things thaw out, which sounds like it's going to be happening sooner, at least in this part of the world. So,
yeah, almost 80 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when we talk about consumer spending, I guess we have to back up a step and look at prices. What's the price picture currently?
Yeah, so overall prices continue to increase at a moderate rate. Contacts are reporting that they're observing higher costs and that they do need to pass some of those on to customers. A lot of these higher costs are coming in the form of utilities, is one that we hear a lot about, as well as insurance. So, if you think about a business, they may have been slowing their wage growth down, but with insurance costs going up, their non-labor costs are or their labor costs are still moving up higher. And so that's leading to some price pressures. And businesses are trying to figure out, if they increase their prices, are they going to lose customers, or is there some tolerance for those price increases? So those pressures are still there in many areas. But at the same time, not necessarily to the same degree that we saw a couple months ago. There is some easing in the outlook for many of our business contacts.
So when it comes to consumer spending, what are we seeing there? I've seen some reports, for example, where, people at the high end were still spending on, some of those luxury items, but, some people, lower wage earners, not so much.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we continue to hear about from our contacts. For example, he talked to an auto dealer in the St. Louis area, and he mentioned to us that, on high-end products, high-end vehicles are still selling, adding bells and whistles, and they can't keep them in stock. For those lower price point vehicles, they're trying to keep those prices as low as possible on the manufacturing side by kind of removing additional features that people don't want to pay extra money for. So they're using that as a way to kind of move things forward. Again, in the auto space, financing conditions are relatively tight. So that's also leading to some challenges in people buying in that space. But yeah, greater share of budgets going to things that you have to pay for, like insurance or utilities, and that leaves less disposable income available and price sensitive customers across kind of, the middle to lower income spectrum of our income distribution.
Let's turn to the housing. What kinds of things are we hearing about how the market will ramp up this year?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that are showing up. So when we talk to people in the kind of the home renovation space, they're looking at healthy demand moving forward into the spring. So people are planning projects to make improvements to their houses. Again, that's kind of skewed to some higher income customers as well. So that part's picking up. When you talk to architects, again, they're kind of doing that early work to get into the building season, and there's some signs that the demand's pretty healthy there. So across the nation, generally saw a sentiment of home buying activity is expected to pick up, and construction activity is supposed to be, pick up a little bit after a really sluggish couple of years.
What about the jobs picture right now?
Yeah, the labor market the demand's relatively stable. We're not hearing a lot about like massive layoffs. There are some that are occurring in kind of very specific sectors, but generally speaking, firms are holding their employment levels stable. There's challenges in finding the right workers for certain positions. And then with labor costs kind of where they're at, firms are increasingly looking to automation as a way to kind of mitigate those costs and preserve profit margins. So businesses are kind of holding employment stable. If they are reducing it, it's primarily through attrition. That's kind of the big driver. And demand remains relatively cool. But we haven't really seen, massive population growth in the region or labor force growth. So the unemployment rate is still remaining relatively low.
Any other high points in this latest beige book that caught your eye?
The outlook was continuing to improve. This information was collected in mid to late February, so I think we have to keep that in context, given the developments over the last couple of weeks. But the outlook has been improving. So I think the last time I was here, I mentioned that we saw a notable uptick in the outlook. That continued into this report. Holiday sales were better than expected. Consumers made out, got through the end of the year in pretty good shape. And so the foundations for this year for growth are looking pretty good. You've got, financial conditions that are healthy. And then, when you talk to retailers, they're looking at a, pretty good tax return season. So that always leads to kind of a good boost in consumer spending as well.
How do we compare to what's the national picture right now?
Yeah, so I think it's important to realize that nobody is the national average. We're all a little bit different. So you have to take that bucket and you average it together. So there's parts of the country, particularly in the Southeast, where we're still seeing really strong growth. The broader Midwest is kind of at slightly below the national average trend in the longer term. And that's pretty consistent with what we saw in this report, which was, stronger reports were primarily coming out of the southeastern portion of the U.S.
Chuck, thank you so much. Always nice to have you in.
Happy to be here.
That is Charles Gaskin. He is a senior economist with the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Coming up, this one is for parents and grandparents. If you have a kid, I guess we don't call them picky eaters anymore, but if you have a kid that's pretty selective and you want to try to get him to try new foods, we've got some advice for you coming up next.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
But I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there will be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Are you struggling trying to get your kids to try a greater variety of foods? I met up with registered dietitian Michelle Wilson of Brands Nutrition, a frequent guest here on Total Information AM, and she's got some advice to help.
The parents are in charge of the foods that they put in front of their kid, and the kid is in charge of what foods they eat and how much they eat. So having a wide variety of food options that they're providing for their kid to choose from, and then getting multiple exposures. Like if you gave it to them once and they're like, I hate this, you still need to give it to them like several more times before we really know whether or not they like it. Another thing is that kids are going to have a different palate than adults will. We naturally become less sensitive to bitter over time. That's why adults like coffee and kids don't. And it's also like why we like broccoli more. We have a less sensitivity to sulfur as we get older too. And so like that's going to be something that's more challenging for kids. And then we can also make foods fun. If you're having something that's prepped up, like if you cut it up and wash it and have like a dip or something available, then they're much more likely to try it. If they can play with it, if it's a finger food, if they've been exposed to it multiple times, then they're much more likely to try it. But if you just have a bowl full of apples and oranges, they're not going to eat it.
Should you make a bargain with kids? Just try one bite.
I think that it's good to give them the opportunity to just try one bite, but we definitely don't want it to be punitive. We don't want it to be like, if you don't eat this, then you don't get to play. Kids are going to have different times where they maybe want to eat a lot and times that they don't, times that they're more distracted or times that they're hungrier. So just make sure that there's nothing punitive involved where they're not like losing privileges because they're struggling with variety with food.
Is it bad to hide beneficial foods in another food? For example, making muffins where you might put pumpkin in them or things like that.
I think it can be a really great opportunity to increase variety to add things into foods. And I have my super tasters, the kids that have avoidant restrictive food intake disorder or taste or texture aversions, they know it's in there and they're going to have a better time if they know that it's in there. So letting them know, like, I'm going to make it different this time, so it's going to taste different and that's okay. And I just want you to like let me know what you think. Or we're going to try this, but it's going to be mushed up, so we're going to try it in a different texture. So letting them know that that's going to happen can help make sure that they know that it's supposed to taste a little bit different and that's okay, rather than thinking this tastes different and that's bad for some reason. So having those exposures can be really great whenever you have trying new fruits and smoothies, trying new vegetables in sauces or in bakery products can be a really great opportunity to try things with a different texture, but letting them know that so they don't reduce their trust with their parent.
When I was a kid, we didn't snack as much. And then we were hungry for the meals. Is that valid? Is there something to that? Like to keep your kids from snacking as much to try to get them to eat those full meals?
So kids are naturally intuitive eaters. So they naturally are going to get more hungry through the day if they're moving their bodies more than they're hungry more often. So I would say that snacks can be great, but grazing is where we might have a little bit of an issue. So if you're regularly eating all the way throughout the day, we're not having designated meal and snack times, then it's going to be harder for them to feel hungry. And that can also be a challenge too if they're like chocolate milk drinkers, then maybe they're going to lose their appetite because of kind of like having that regular intake. So I would say that kids definitely need to eat regularly throughout the day. Actually, adults do too. Snacking's great for adults too. I've heard recently that one of my clients was like, oh, snacking's for kids. I was like, I'm sorry, what? But it's definitely great for them to eat regularly through the day, but it might be like breakfast snack, lunch snack, dinner snack, but not constantly grazing all of the time if we're having issues with being hungry for meals. If that doesn't seem like something that your kid is struggling with, then there's no problem with them reaching into the pantry or reaching into the fridge to grab their own snacks. I think it can be great for that autonomy. I think it's only an issue when you find that they're not hungry at all for a meal, and then maybe you can be a bit more mindful of when that snack timing is. But sometimes kids are snacking on things that add tons of nutrition to it. So just being mindful of like what it is that you're offering to them and the timing of when you're offering it to them. But also kids can be hungry in between and it might not necessarily be a bad thing.
Is there a danger if we try to make our kids eat too much? For example, like I remember, and this is decades ago, but my grandma was always like, don't you want to be a member of the Clean Plate Club? Actually, no, Grandma, I'm full.
Oh my gosh. I have a lot of people that are recovering from the Clean Your Plate Club. But it's definitely good to, like I said at the beginning, you're the one providing the food for them and they're the ones deciding how much and what they're eating. So definitely let kids eat intuitively and stop when they're full and give them another opportunity to eat later or come back to their food later if maybe they're more distracted or they didn't like trying that food. Fed is best. We want to make sure that kids get adequate food and they naturally know how much they want, and they might eat a lot one day and a little the next day, and that's okay, but definitely don't force a kid to eat more than they're hungry for.
Can we overwhelm kids by putting too much on their plate, too much variety?
I would say that the variety might not necessarily be a problem. It would be, if you have a wide variety of options for them to choose from, then they can pick from that. I think it would be more overwhelming if they felt like they had to eat all of it. So if you had several fruits and several veggies in front of them and they could choose whatever they wanted, then that could be totally fine. But if it's like you have to eat one of everything and there's like 10 things on there, then that could be overwhelming.
Any other tips you'd give parents?
I would say that if your kid is having an issue with picky eating, I think that it's really great to reach out to a dietitian because some kids are actually struggling with something a little bit more intense than that. So if it's avoidant restrictive food intake disorder or ARFID, they have sensory processing disorders, you guys can definitely benefit from seeing a dietitian or seeing a feeding team, like where if they have a swallowing problem, or maybe if they have allergies, if they have any sort of reasons why they might have an aversion to food. We definitely notice if kids are having difficulty with their growth curve. So if kids aren't growing tall enough or they're not gaining weight throughout their childhood, we definitely want to make sure that they're getting adequate nutrition. So definitely reach out to help with a professional so you can get individual advice for your kid.
That is Michelle Wilson of Brands Nutrition. And just a tease for you, she and I actually, before we sat down for this interview, we took about a half hour. We walked through a local grocery store to talk about some of the things that are on the shelves and how they fit into our eating plans. I learned a ton, so I will be sharing that with you in snippets next week here on Total Information AM.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Lynch.
Some sugar substitutes are linked to faster cognitive decline. Over 8 years, Brazilian researchers tracked 7 artificial sweeteners typically found in ultra-processed foods like diet soda, and found people who consumed the highest amounts of these sweeteners had a faster decline in memory skills compared to those who consumed the lowest amounts. The fastest decline equaled about